Welcome to the Triple Takeover Toycast, a fortnightly podcast all about Transformers and occasionally other vintage toy lines as well. Today is a big one because it's a 75th 3-year special episode extravaganza. And we're all in it for one of the best years of Transformers there ever was as well. That is 1988. We're going to cast our minds back all that way. My name is Sixo. But more on that later, because with me as ever are my lovely co-hosts. First up, we've got the one and only cheeky chappy. It's Liam from Toybox Soapbox.
What ho?
I was expecting that. How are you doing?
All right, not too bad.
Good. We've also got J-Swags, Mr. Jason. How you doing?
Hello there. Yeah, good. Very good. I'm excited for this one. Let's crack on.
Are you?
Yeah, I am.
What, as opposed to all the other ones?
Yeah, those, well, we'll come to that. Let's see if I can mispronounce anything tonight. That's my aim.
I reckon it could happen. There's some potential for that. No Supreme Cheetor tonight, though, Jason, yeah?
I know. We've done him. He's done now. That's it.
Is he?
Although someone did point out that the what you paid for him and the amount of miles you've got on him now has actually been worth that £10 when you think it's
Oh, yeah, definitely.
valid.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been, for an entry ticket price to an experience, I would say it was great value for money.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Now, I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you're seeing things here, but who's that in the corner?
Evening, lads.
Hello.
He's back.
Who let you in?
Check out these. No, I'm not going to say it.
Well, you're not going to say it on this podcast.
No, this is a respectable podcast. Well, it was the last time I was here.
This is a family-friendly podcast. Oh, it's gone downhill since then. We F and blind with the best of them now. You wouldn't believe it.
That'll be the Scott that you got on.
Yeah. How you doing, Mez?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
How are all of you?
Surviving. Yeah.
Not thriving.
Look at him just wander back in like he's never been away. Look at
It
him.
was your idea. You
It was your
specifically.
idea,
It was
yeah.
you. They didn't ask to move back. It was just you.
Now it's down to semantics. He's back for a minute and look at it.
I actually voted against it, if that
Yeah.
means anything. But it was.
As
I
did
got
your entire
overruled.
listener base, if Discord is to be believed.
That's not true.
That's
at
not
all.
true.
Sixo is the Triple Takeover gatekeeper trying to keep you out, man. That's what it was.
Well, I think it was me that sacked him to begin with. I can't remember.
Isn't it just a revolving door around here? You know?
Yeah,
That's what it is.
Exactly. Well, we'll have to see who leaves tonight, won't we? There's 4 of us again, so it's like Russian roulette. It's, musical chairs, whatever it is. I don't know. One of us is going to have to go by the end of the episode.
Well, it can't be you, otherwise the episode will never come out.
Well,
Hey.
I'm glad you remember how things work around here. That's,
Yeah. Linchpins.
Liam,
That's
you were
it,
about to
yeah.
protest that statement.
I was, then I realised it's true. Inarguable.
Damn.
Fair enough. Maz, what tempted you back on tonight then?
The money.
Okay. Yeah, about that. Didn't get anything in writing.
It's all got a missing link prime.
Look, I've already had enough of this from my employer. I'm not having it from you as well.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll negotiate later. Was it not the promise of talking about fabulous Transformers 1988 toys?
Yeah, 3-year anniversary. Couldn't miss it. And 1988 is a terrific topic.
Well, I think it's fair to say that it's a favourite year amongst all of us. I don't think I'm being too broad in saying that. I think we all really appreciate this year of toys. And so when it came up about what we were going to do for a bit of a special topic to mark our 3-year anniversary spectacular and our 75th episode, which is utterly bonkers, the fact that we're now 75 episodes in, it felt only right to do a topic like this and to have you back on as well, Maz, because all joking aside, it's actually quite a delight to see you.
It's nice to be here again, honestly. I mean, I thought I'd have the room sorted by now, but it's free of toys, but it's not free of furniture, so I could still record in here.
Yeah, great. Well, more the better for us.
Yeah, our bonus. Nice.
Well, we are going to get into it with 1988 surely. We should mention in the meantime that we do have a sponsor as ever, that is tfsource.com. So we'll do a longer segment on them in the middle of the pod. And we also have a Patreon, which we will talk about later, but it's worth getting on there because we've got lots of great perks, which we'll walk you through towards the end of the pod. And we'll do a bit of a longer segment because we have some Patreon questions that we're going to be reading out, which is a bit of a perk that you can get from us. And of course, Maz is back, so we've got the shout out going on tonight as well. He's going to be performing that for us.
Beg your pardon?
Live.
You changed the spreadsheet. It's not in
going to be fantastic.
join order anymore. It's like
Did no one tell you about this?
Alphabetical.
Yeah, no one mentioned this. This wasn't part of the deal.
I did suspect, but you won't see it through.
No, you're fine. I think we'll let you off. Maybe.
Yeah, there's no one to hand me a phone with Excel on it so I can actually read the names.
Exactly. You're not going to be scrambling around the TF Nation bar for about an hour beforehand trying to get your phone
Learning
to
how
work.
to do tech, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
New Powermasters are here. Amazing new Transformers called Powermasters.
Their engine's the key that unlocks their Transformer energy.
Incredible Powermasters. They only transform when their Nebulon becomes their engine.
Powermaster Transformers! Decepticon Powermasters transform!
And the Decepticons unlock their Transformer energy.
Powermaster Transformers! They've got the power to surprise!
So 1988 then, there's a lot to say about this. And I mean, look, I said it before. Am I right in saying from all of you that this is a favourite year of toys amongst us? Would anyone care to disagree with that statement?
I have a slight caveat to this one.
Okay.
Just 'cause
here we go.
This is where somebody dies.
So he's the one leading the pod this time.
Negative Jason.
I know, sorry, bringing it all
Jason's
down.
about to get turned into grey Starscream dust.
Yeah, well, so I am older than all you lot, and for me, 1988 was actually a shocking truth. I stopped collecting as a teenager at this point.
Oh my God.
So I experienced.
You rage quit, did you?
Well, yeah, it was the you've heard, you know about me and Pretenders, but I at this point was kind of checking out from Transformers on the toys though, not on some of the other stuff like the comics and things like that. So it's really interesting because I experienced these all as an adult collector, which brought a whole other dimension to it, which was really good. But I'll come to that later, I'm sure. But yeah, just as a heads up, I did not experience these as a kid.
I think that's interesting though, because I'm sure that's true of a lot of people actually. Because
Yep, same.
Yeah, because Maz, your experience of most toys during childhood was the earlier years, wasn't it? And
I had a few bits of 1987, which cemented my love of that year. But 1988, I think the only thing I had, if I'm not wrong, was Landfill, and that was a present.
Oh my God.
So it was definitely 88, 89. I had far less bought for me and that I chose. And yeah, most of these toys were surprises for me as an adult collector, and not even in the early stages of collecting, but I'm talking like 2015 onwards was when I started to experience these toys. And I think that's why I love them so much, because they've all like surprised me by what bangers they are. Yeah, I thought I spent years thinking this was the Duplo age of Transformers, but then start to realize that no, this is actually quite amazing. But I have a caveat, like Jason, though. You'll notice behind me that there are no Transformers toys, that I've packed my collection into storage. When I was packing them all away, I was obviously transforming them all back into vehicle mode, and it was the post-movie era where the toys felt the most brittle and delicate, and like, wow, these are not going to survive this process. And 88 was especially unnerving when I was transforming them to put them back into their...
Yeah, I could see that.
This is the year where the toys are going to crumble first.
I could see that. Yep. There's a lot of stuff like old Darkwing, isn't there? That I don't know if I would call that, enjoyable.
And squeeze play. Process. My squeeze play is
horrible.
Tail, it just always, There is a lot.
I thought you were saying it is horrible.
No.
But then it clocked on me what you were actually saying.
Yeah, no, even Fangry was like mega tight. All of the toys were squeaking and creaking way more than I ever remember them doing. Even something as what you imagine is indestructible, like Joyride, was like, oh, this is a little bit creaky now these days.
I must admit, my Fangry is
naming
one
toys now.
Yeah, exactly. Just keep going. Yeah, anymore. But no, I think you are right. There is that element to it, which is weird considering that this year is thought of, I think, as being more like you sort of said. Did you say Duplo or Play School? I can't rember.
Duplo, yeah.
Duplo, which is a good way to put it, actually, because we talked about that in the Pretenders episode we did recently, where I did not have a love of Pretenders when I was a teenager. Just didn't enjoy it at all. And Duplo's a good way to describe it with my brain at that point. Yeah,
kind of aesthetic.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people dropped off. I mean, it's obviously we often talk about it as like fans that grew up with this stuff at the time, but I think there are plenty of people that dropped off from Transformers from post movie era, and certainly by 88 they were just gone from the hobby. Their childhood at the time, and certainly, so Micromasters, all of that. Because Jason, you're just getting to Micromasters now, aren't you?
I am.
Just kind of
it's true.
Experiencing those for the first time.
Wow.
Which is brilliant. They are. I agree with everyone that said the same to me, which is like they're just a lot of fun. A lot of fun. It's worth pointing out, though, as well, and I'm sure Liam will be able to attest to this because it's related to the Tapman stuff as well. But keep in mind at this time as well, there was a big change in kind of toys and what was happening. The Ghostbusters around at the time, and everything was kind of dropping off at the same time, and toy lines. So there was, even just looking at what was available then was quite limited from a Transformers line, and it compared to what was released previously.
Yeah, it wasn't as big as the previous years. You could see that the product, the catalogue is smaller than 87 and 86. It definitely kind of peaked in 86, in terms of number of toys being produced.
There was definitely maybe less quantity, but I think the quality was there, though, because what came out is just, now you look at it and it's just banger after banger. And also, they kind of shrunk everything a little bit. Like Headmasters and Target Masters all just became smaller. To some degree. But I mean, you put some of the 88 Headmasters like Nightbeat and Hosehead next to the 87s, and they're not necessarily smaller. But certainly, the Decepticon ones are a little bit more diminutive.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a less. I don't want to say less ambitious year, but it's like there's no Fortress Maximus here or anything like that. There's no Scorponok, no Triptychon, no Metroplex.
There's a fish combiner.
There's a fish combiner, but that's one combiner out, where the previous year we'd had 2, and before that you'd had 4, 5. So,
87
had more than 2, didn't it?
You're right.
Abominus and Computron. So it's all kind of a scaling back thing. But what you do have here is a ton of new gimmicks on top of some coming back as well, some returning gimmicks. You've got a new Optimus Prime toy, which we're obviously going to have to talk about. And I think just coming back to your point, Jason, as well, the other big thing was that Turtles was coming on the scene at this point, wasn't it?
Yeah. So there was there was just this change in toys, and and also keep in mind at the end, what was it, like the end of 87, like November of 87, that's when the cartoon finished as well.
Yeah.
So we never had that anymore. So a big part of this for me was like, when I look at the toy line, when you've got the Dreadwing and Darkwing, it's like I knew them from the comic. I didn't know them as toys. That was the thing for me. So yeah, there was no real push anymore coming from the cartoon that there was previously.
It's funny because in all the notes and things that I thought about for tonight, it actually never once occurred to me that this is the first line of toys from a sort of post-cartoon era for Transformers. But it's such a prevalent point as well. And I do think that will have contributed to it as well, because like a lot of people just won't have cared as much about characters that they knew nothing about.
In the UK, we wouldn't really have had the 87 cartoon. Like the Rebirth was out on VHS, sure, but I mean, it wasn't a telly regular.
I was talking more generally, but
yeah, of course, like in the US, but there would have been large parts of 87 that wouldn't have had cartoon coverage either.
It was on cable, children's channel. Yeah, it was on Sky.
I saw it on Sky as well, but not in the 80s. I saw it in Sky like 90s.
It was definitely there in the 80s because I remember it. I think I saw it before the film. Because I remember the intro changing, and being like horrified. I think I told that story.
It does sound like a Liam story, to be fair. Sounds like the kind of thing you'd be horrified by. You don't like change.
I definitely don't.
Liam, what was your take on 88 then? You grew up with these toys though, didn't you?
Yeah, I liked it. It was a change. It was different, but at the same time, my tastes were moving toward Turtles, as Jason mentioned earlier. Like, that's where my attention was starting to pivot to later, because that's, suppose for us, that's later 88, isn't it? The cartoon is 87 in America, so I think it's late 88, 89 here, maybe. So I think my attention at this time was pivoting to other things as well. But I liked the toys that were coming out, because I was still getting some of them, like I had Cloudburst. But I remember the cartoon being on Sky, because I always remember the last episode that they showed was the G1 episode where they're at the dam. And then I remember the very next episode, it changed and it had this new beginning, and I was horrified by the tune, this new tune. I was like, wait, what's this? No, I don't like this.
This is not my Transformers.
This is what?
Did you get your mum to write in?
I did not. There was no extra toys or tapes forthcoming. But I think I spoke about it before, but when it changed to 86, I wasn't as keen at first. It took me a little while to get on board because of the shift into sort of everything was so different, very sci-fi and over-the-top sci-fi versus the real vehicles and stuff like that. The stuff that you knew.
So I was revisiting the episodes that you guys did right at the beginning, and that was the Seacons that you covered right at the beginning. And all three of
said
you
it right.
I did. Yes, I've learned.
Wow.
that's because my girlfriend said "seagull" as it flew by, and I felt like an idiot.
I love seagull.
Seagull.
Mads has missed this, haven't you?
and the sea side.
The old
yeah.
Seacons.
I'm learning. Every day's a learning. But when I was listening to the Seacons episode, all three of you were like, "Oh yeah, everyone had like a Seacon in their collection, and it was like one of those kind of synonymous."
I didn't.
But I was going to say, Maz, because you were just like, I didn't have one, and I was like, Maz, yeah, me too, same. I just was like, it was like this missing thing that kids would come into school with this weird fish guy.
Well, if I'd known that Seawing combines with his mates to form Iranicon, I probably would have bought it.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Iranicon,
That's amazing.
Sea Owing. Yeah.
Owing. I know.
See, to me, it's what you're saying though. Those were such heavily prevalent toys. Like I remember them so distinctly. The sea Acons were just everywhere, as far as I was concerned. They were ubiquitous, and so many of these toys were like P-Mop for me, Powermaster Optimus Prime. I just knew so many kids that had that. I think that's like big memories of that as a child. And that was like a landmark toy. That's like the first. Well, it's the first time they ever brought Optimus Prime back, and this year is the first time that any Transformers characters came back in that toy.
Yeah. That was my first Optimus as well. I know I said Landfill was the only one I had, but I remember I got Prime as a gift as well. So cool. That was my first Prime.
So I think I don't know, as much as people were moving on and stuff, there was still some focus here, and clearly some people had pretenders because there were enough people out there who were like, God, I hated them, and it's like, well, you must have had them then, right? Like you must have experienced them if you hated them, surely.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about like, this is going way back, but what people had, and there was definitely kids that. So I would have been in first year at secondary school, and I do remember friends having pretenders. I keep in mind though, I was back in Scotland at this point. We got very different deliveries of toys up here. It was really quite limited what we ended up getting. Yeah. So all I really remember was Powermaster Optimus Prime being if I'd go in and look in the shelves, that's what I'd see maybe in the shelves. But I'm really having to rack my brain. It just didn't have that kind of impact when you went in that previously it did with Transformers when it went to toy shop.
I think it was definitely on the wane, wasn't it? At this point, it was starting to kind of go one way.
But at the same time, this was the year. These are the kind of years where people who were a little bit too young for Transformers in 84 and 85, like maybe their older siblings had toys in 84, 85, 100%. 86, and then they're like, oh, I love Transformers, and they would have gotten their first Transformers in this year, or they were too young to have the toys or understand the cartoon, and they were like 2 years old in 84 or something. This would have been the kind of period where they would have stepped in and started getting Transformers toys, so they have this strong nostalgic connection to.
Well, that was me. That was me very much, because it's funny because Liam's like, oh, I think I was moving on at this point in 88. And he's slightly younger than I am by a matter of mere months.
Calm down, old man. Your memory's playing tricks on you.
Sure. I know Liam likes to paint it like there's some generational gap between us or something.
There is.
Actually, there's a few months. But this was a big year for me because, as you said, Maz, I was 2 in 1984. So I have no memory of those toys. I have memories of 1986 maybe. But this, I would have only been 6 by the time this year came out. So, when I think to my son now, who is 6 now, it's the right age for it. Absolutely.
It's perfect. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, that's really good. And it's a really valid point, actually. I'm going to ask you all, so you have to choose one, okay? Let's try this. Out of all the toys from that year, what's the
early in the day for this, isn't it?
I was going to say, Jason. We could do that. It's like end of the episode stuff. This is like, but go for it. Let's do it.
No, man. But the reason I ask is I'm going to say you can't choose Powermaster Optimus Prime.
Oh no! Well, I was going to say P-Mop.
Yeah, same.
Because we all say P-Mop. End of the episode.
Oh, if I could pick one and not P-Mop, then Double Dealer. I think.
Yeah.
He's actually got a real answer as well.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Preparedness.
It's that good a toy though. It's that bloody special that it's only going to be Powermaster Optimus Prime that upstages him for that year. The colors, the head sculpt, the modes, just what it is. It's a missile truck, and
And a
bird of prey,
And a bird,
a robot, 2 Powermasters, and somehow he manages to make Mickey Mouse ears work. What an amazing toy!
Yeah.
It's so
But
true.
that was a landmark toy of that year, wasn't it? That
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah.
again, take PMOP out of the equation. You've got to look to like your double dealers and your Piranacons as like the big money toys of the year, right?
Well, also Dreadwind and Darkwing. Like,
Yep.
those two
Yeah.
together just
Love
quite
those two.
spectacular.
Yeah, I love those two for many different reasons. Partly nostalgia to the comics, as I said earlier. That's where I knew about them. They became such important characters in the UK comic, and I love them. Wasn't really aware of the toys, and then getting them was just an absolute joy. I actually, though, Maz, have Double Dealer at the top of my list as well. And that purely comes down to what I said earlier about being like adult collector and knowing nothing about that toy, and then just knowing it as a kind of APC rocket truck thing, and then just going, there's a beast mode to this, and it just being such a surprise, you know. And when I got it, it was a long time ago now, but it was totally unexpected. It's just wild. It's really cool.
I remember when it arrived. It was about 2016, I think, when I got mine, and I bought it and I got it in its box, which is quite cavernous and quite a sight. Double Dealer in his G1 box is amazing, and I transformed it for the first time into robot mode, and I couldn't stop looking at it. I remember it had arrived and I come home from work, opened it, went to have dinner, and all the way through dinner I was just thinking about this toy, and I just couldn't wait to get back to it and just marvel at it more, get it in front of a camera. It's still a very, very special toy to me. It's one I think will always be on the shelf, will always be within eyesight. Not today, but soon. It'll be one of the first ones back out.
Yeah,
it's so weird, like looking down the list of these toys, and like I remember so vividly now. When I think about it, is I remember thinking as a kid at this time that Transformers were on their way out. Like the more I looked at these toys, like I had some of them and I liked them, but the more I look at them, I'm like, I actually vividly remember thinking that, because I remember when I got Crankcase and thinking like Transformers feels like it's at its end now.
This is over.
Yeah.
And Liam at the age of 6, like, this is done.
Well, no, like it felt like, because things then, it seemed to move with the playground at school, didn't it? Everybody seemed to move together. And I remember like with each year, less kids were into Transformers and things were moving. And that's how it kind of felt like it moved on. Because at this point, like, just to go back a little bit, we were at that precipice of Turtles was about to hit big. Batman was about to come out the next year. Like, when you think about where this stands in the pop culture, like,
yeah, but I remember that Batman line from your first Tatman episode, mate. That was no competition for this stuff.
But I mean,
that's true. That's fair.
Not in terms of a toy line, but in terms of like a mass market thing that everyone suddenly gravitated to. Like
movies and
people weren't there going, "Oh, I love Batman, but I want my Transformers toys." Everyone was just like, "Give me Batman everything," and that's where people's attention was. Things were moving, weren't they? Like to Nintendo, to all sorts of stuff at this time.
Yeah, we
And
can't
like,
ignore consoles and stuff. Yeah,
no, but I really remember that, like really strongly. Like it was this wave of toy, because I remember when I lost my Cloudburst and being quite like sad about it. But I had no real motivation to get another one because it felt like that was the end of Transformers. Obviously, it wasn't, because I kept getting more over the years, but it was like a diminishing amounts of them. It'd be like one or two rather than I must have them all. It was all like, that one looks cool. And I can't get some other toy from some other line, or there's not something else in my intention this week.
Mm-hmm. It's such a weird drop off, isn't it, from 86 to here? Like, you talk about 86 and there's a big screen movie out. All right, it bombed, but that's by the by. But like the real peak of the toy line, and 2 years later it's like, oh, it's on the way out, but it's still amazing toys. That's the real dichotomy of this point.
That's the thing, isn't it? Because you look at this as an adult and you're like, some of the best toys ever are released here. Like 100%. You're like, and the perspective is so different now when you look back at it versus where you were then and the changes and things you're into. And actually, like for a toy line, 84 to 88, 4 years is a long time, particularly then. Yeah. It's a real long time. Like you think about how big He-Man was, and really that's what, 2-3 years. G.I. Joe again, 3 or 4 years of peak, and then it's decline. That seems to be where it is, because kids are growing up and the new kids are into new things, aren't they? So that's kind of where you get these big declines.
But I think there's a lot of daring stuff in this line as well, like the Pretenders and that kind of stuff that is like quite a total revision of the formula. So that's kind of what I admire about these years of toys, is that at no point were they like, that's this very singular thing of cars, robots that turn into cars and jets, that's Transformers. They never really stuck with that. Like, it constantly evolved every single year and brought in new play patterns, new gimmicks, new things. And I get that people, to some extent, didn't always reciprocate with that. They didn't always kind of like that, but at the same time, you've got to kind of credit it for trying to reinvent itself, constantly, which I think is really good. In answer to your question, Jason, I think I'm going to say Slapdash.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Which I brought up as a hidden gem once, and it hasn't really changed. If you're going to take P-Mop off the table for me, then that's up there. That's a big childhood memory toy for me. Absolutely legendary thing. And getting it again as an adult was one of those like revelatory moments of just like, yes, I want more of this. More of these kind of like old memories coming back and things like that. So it's a really, really great thing.
It's funny you say about old memories, actually, because it was the total opposite for me. It was these new experiences of toys, which are so close to 1987 and an evolution of those ideas while having all these amazing Earth modes back. So it was a really new experience for me, and I couldn't get enough of it. And I was really lucky that when I was collecting 1988 stuff at the beginning, it wasn't hot on everyone's list, but it was just starting to get a little bit tricky to find, like a really good Siren or a really good Nightbeat.
Yeah.
And that was suddenly a problem, and it took me so long to find a good Darkwing. In fact, someone his name is Chris Areola, he sent me a sealed one, and he said, I'm sending it to you for free, but you have to open it and give it the treatment.
Oh yeah.
And that was the only way I could get a perfectly mint Darkwing, because it was so hard to find a good one.
But Liam, what was your favourite toy this year then? Or was that the question? The favourite toy, the big hitter? What was
You already said it was the Jaffa Cake tray from Batman.
True.
That was the following year. Come on. No, it would have to be Powermaster Prime. You can't take Powermaster Prime.
Can't choose that. Not allowed.
You can't. You like look at it and I'm like, Quick Switch, didn't like him.
There must be another toy from this year that you like.
Quick Switch! I forgot about Quick Switch.
I didn't like Quick Switch when I got him as a kid.
It's great!
It felt like the toy that almost killed it for me. It's like, it's I can't look past Powermaster Prime. I can't look at the ones. I'm like, they're all right.
Right, hang on. Well, wait a second though, because there's what about on the Pretender side?
I liked those toys, but Powermaster Prime was the one I remember at Christmas, man. That toy meant everything. That was so good. It's the only one of these toys that I really adored. Crankcase was all right, but a lot of these, when I was a kid, were just the ones that I had. The feelings were always, it's all right, but it's not as good as before. Whereas now I look at them really differently. But what was the dark grey jet called? Which one was that? Was that Darkwing or Dreadwing?
That's Darkwing.
Darkwing.
Yeah,
I like that guy. I made an effort to trade that with someone at school because they got it for their birthday and hated it.
Oh, nice. Oh, I always like a school trade is always good.
Yeah.
You know when we did our hidden gems and you picked Quick Mix?
Was he this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a toy that would probably have been wholesale ignored at the time.
By me.
Ignored for years as an adult collector. But then you go back and you experience Quick Mix and you think, bloody hell, that's everything that's right about vintage G1. And that's how I feel about Quick Switch. Because I know there's lots of haters for that toy. And coming out at the time, I suppose you put that next to Six Shot and you're just like, this is ridiculous. But now, playing with Quick Switch, it's got all the right feels when you transform it, the ratchets and the way it looks. And
just like a Rubik's Cube with legs.
It does, actually. That's
quote unquote Puma.
Yeah, exactly.
The Tetris Puma.
Tetris Puma.
I totally agree with you, particularly on Quick Switch. Like now, I think it's a great toy. But as a kid, I remember getting it and I was so disappointed with the toy because must have been a Christmas gift, but I remember opening it and taking it out and being excited from the box and then actually getting it. And I don't know, I think it's different when you've had so many Transformers over the years and then you get to this point versus going back because where you rediscover stuff and you go, actually, through that lens, it's different. But as a kid, it was like, there are other toys now.
Yeah, maybe it's not the right way to describe it as a really good toy, as a great toy. Maybe it's just a really great G1 experience and not a really great toy.
No, I think it is a great toy. I think there's a lot of timing. Like I say, we were 4 years in at this point. There's so much of Transformers had been done and experienced, and it was kind of like, this is an evolution and it's great, but it's not reinventing the wheel. And it's kind of like more. It's a bit like how I feel about Masterpiece now, where I'm like, it's great, but I've experienced so much of it before. Now it doesn't get me excited in the same way it did at the start. You know, they could do something brilliant. I'd be like, that's cool.
They have trains.
Yes, he's not wrong.
They're brilliant. Legitimately brilliant.
Yeah.
But they've done Thomas and Friends now, so that's cool. They've done the really useful engines. But I mean, that's what I mean. I sort of look at it, and it's not the trains; they're cool. But when I look at the cars, like even when Skids came out, I'm like, if that came out earlier, I'd been like, this is amazing. Whereas now I still think it's
It is
amazing,
amazing.
but I'm not wowed like I would have been a couple of years ago. Does that make sense?
No, not a tiny bit. No, 0 sense.
You want new stuff. You want new stuff constantly.
Well, no, you feel like you've seen so much and it feels just like an evolution rather than something that's blowing the bloody doors off, you know? Something new and exciting.
I don't agree with you, but I understand that's the point of view, and I can understand it. I don't feel like that in that sense, but yeah.
Did you say point of view or point of you?
Point of view.
That's a very different statement.
Point of view.
Okay.
Yeah. Certainly if you rack up something like Quick Switch versus G1 Blue Streak or something like that, they're going to be very different experiences, aren't they?
So laughing. Because he said, I understand I don't agree with your opinion, but I understand that's the point of view. So not agreeing with you is the point of view. So it's just point
really of view. It was point of view.
That's my role.
What an insult.
I mean, I do understand the point of Liam. Like, he has his uses.
Wow. God, Maz, you've come back now. Now we take the mickey out of Jason, not me. Please.
Yeah. See the
come on,
butt
dude.
Of the jokes.
Yeah,
I feel like
he's the comedy guy now.
Yeah, I'm just a mispronunciation guy. I'm going to bring us back on brand here, and I am not the person qualified to talk about this by a long shot, but purely because I decided to do a bit of research. But am I right? At this point, we've ran out of Diaclone, haven't we? So we're not getting any Diaclone. So this is now all new designs. Nothing that we could get our hands on.
Nothing from anyone else. This is 100% solid Transformers product.
So I get what Liam's saying in the fact that this was a big step change to what we had before and what we were used to. And, you know, even it's like when I was looking, inevitably one of your photos, Maz, came up where you had all the 1988
well, I was going to
together.
say this is quite funny, but if you Google Transformers 1988, the third picture in Google Images is one of Maz's.
Yeah, it was first for me. Yeah, and it's it's a beautiful image. Yeah, but they're
in Scotland.
But they're all in Scotland. Yeah, they edited other ones for us. But you know, even just scale wise, because you know they're kind of big chunkier cars as well, which is something that when I was younger was a bit like, it doesn't really do it for me. Now. Love it more for some reason, a bit more than I did like with the originals. They have a different place, but when I start looking at Getaway, Joyride, Slapdash, you know, before I looked at them and thought they were a bit comical. Slapdash's massive big shoulders, but now I just really enjoy the design of them. That's what I love.
I think that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I mean, the comparison between Quick Switch and Blue Streak is like the most extreme. But let's say you put something like Powermaster Optimus Prime and the other Powermasters, those three cars next to each other, and line them up in formation in the way that Maz has done in that picture. But then you compare that to seeing like the 1984 Optimus with the Autobot cars from that year. It's a totally different line and experience.
Completely different aesthetic. Totally. Yeah.
Totally shifted.
It's one that you appreciate, I think, more as an adult. Whereas when you're a kid and you like say, I like Transformers for the last 2 or 3 years, your attention starts moving as you get older, doesn't it? Like, I think at this time, like Micro Machines, Real Ghostbusters, stuff like that was taking certainly my attention away from these. It wasn't that I looked at these and went, these are terrible, these are crap. It was more just like, I still like them, but I now like these other things more right now because this is the new cartoon that's on the TV. This is what all the kids like. All the kids were super into Micro Machines or football, you know, other things. And I think that's what happens. And it's like I say, I kept going back to them, but it wasn't something I was like obsessively into.
Micro Machines was huge for me as well.
Yeah, it was like for me, yeah.
With the Turtles coming up, like the Turtles again is another example of that because like if you remember the Turtles and how big that was, but like when you think about actually how many years that was, it's like 89. Right, really, it's 88, 89, 90. Then after that, there's the decline. The toys were still going, but like you don't remember kids weren't frothing at the mouth for the same level because they'd all moved on to other stuff by this point.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking. So for me at this point, I had a massive Hornby train layout.
I wonder what you were going to say. Oh my god!
He had a massive horn, did you? Well, he said he stopped collecting toys as a teenager. Then he just got a massive horn.
It's when Gladiators had started. You know, I was subscribed to the magazine.
Last episode, you were talking about the big D that you were going to drop or whatever. I was like, God, what a lead-in, mate! If you're going to talk about your love of Hornby, don't start with a massive Hornby. It's not. no way to lead the
It
into
was a
it.
big layout.
Did you have a shed to enjoy it?
Right.
Or was it just in the attic?
Full steam ahead. Yeah, God.
Oh, ah.
Oh dear. But yeah, my collecting habits completely shifted. It was still getting the comic, but that was the only thing I was getting. It was now Hornby train sets, and then it probably was then Games Workshop and all that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, and I actually just thinking about then, I had access to a bigger city, so there was different stuff. But this is what you said, Liam. Though is like suddenly we think about how we're consuming stuff now as well, and how we're getting fed stuff as kids, where previously we had 3-4 channels, and then suddenly we've got Sky, and then we're starting to get access to stuff beyond what we had before as well.
Yeah, we weren't really collectors then, were we? But it's not like now where you collect things and you build stuff up. It was, you got different parts of it and you tried to get as much as you could, but then you moved on to something else with everybody else. Your interests shift as you get older, don't they? And there's new things. Like back then, for me, it was franchises. It's whatever the new exciting thing was that was flashing on the TV or other kids had at school. And it's like the comic is a good point, because I was still picking that up like regularly for years, but I was less engaged in the toys. Like through this, looking at this, like I had a crankcase, and I thought it's cool, but I wasn't as like engaged in it to then go and get the others. It was like I've kind of had my thing here. Same with the Pretenders. I had Cloudburst. I loved it, lost it, but I didn't feel the need that I needed all of them. It was just like, this is cool. But instead of that, next week, I can get something else from a different toy line that I'm into. I could get a set of Micro Machines or a different Ghostbuster.
Yeah, totally. Do you know, just when you mentioned Crankcase, though, because sitting behind me on the shelf here is the Legacy Crankcase, which is... This is one thing when I was kind of going through this, of like looking at these, and for a relatively small number of releases for 1988, it's amazing how many of these characters and toys have lasted, which I think personally for me is I really like, and they've kind of stood the test of time. So they didn't maybe get the love that they deserved when they first came out, but they have now, and then they've been recognised with that.
You've got to thank people like James Roberts and Nick Roach for stuff like that. Because I remember those two going around TFN looking at merch that Paul Hitchens had brought to TFN, and they loved and bought all of the 88 merch, stuff like paper plates with squeeze play and Hosehead on it. And he referred to it as these are 1988's breakout characters. So that was their Transformers, and they put characters like Crankcase and all these guys got their moment in the sun in IDW, and I think that's really helped get them toys in the newer lines.
Yeah, I think that's been really interesting to see, because so many of the earlier cast, the 84 guys and all of that, have become such household names in terms of Transformers. That they're the big hitters that everybody thinks of, and I think it's done the world of good to have some of these later names kind of come to the fore a little bit as well. Yeah. So, but I would say that actually there's still a decent, I'm looking at the product list from this year, there's still a huge chunk of characters from this year that I think are not only one and done, but they've just never come back. A lot of the second wave, the second assortment Pretenders is a good example. All the Hasbro only Pretenders, because of course you had the ones from Masterforce, all your Cloudbursts and those guys, Skullgrins, all the ones everybody thinks of. But then you had the second assortment of, Groundbreaker, Sky High, Splashdown,
Road Grabber.
Exactly.
That's 89 actually.
No, Road Grabber and Gunrunner were this year. Yeah.
They were
88.
This is the thing. This is the weird thing with Pretenders this year, right? And this is the other thing that occurred to me, was that they dropped Pretenders as a gimmick this year, and clearly what happened was that some of them came out super early. Like if you look at the first 88 catalogs, it's got Cloudburst and all those big names that you would expect, all the ones that were in the comic and whatever else, they're in the initial catalog, and there's little drawings saying coming soon or whatever for some of the later ones. They've got the names often, but not the actual pictures of the toys, and so they were clearly developing them and had a second assortment. But they dropped Pretenders, and they dropped standard Pretenders, Beasts and Vehicles all in one hit, all in 88. So Carnivac, all of those guys, which I would say is a character that stood the test of time and sort of stuck around a little bit. Carnivac, people still kind of think of that. But there's, those second wave Pretenders, and on the Decepticon side, you've got Bugley, you got Finback, less so Iguanus because he was big in the comic.
But we didn't get those in the UK, did we? The Finbacks and the Iguanuses and stuff like that. That wouldn't have been the UK stuff. That was US only.
Not at all. But these are characters that haven't made much of a mark on Transformers generally. Like, they've never been big franchise names, even at the time, nor anything since. They've just kind of gone away, essentially. And it's a bit the same with like the Autobot Junior Target Masters, Landfill, Quick Mix, those guys.
Scoop. Yeah, totally.
Scoop,
yeah.
Again, big IDW character. Scoop.
Yeah, that's true.
Scoop,
yeah, very true.
There are exceptions.
But that's only because he got a toy, wasn't it? That's why Scoop was a big character, because they did the Thrilling 30 toy. That's why
they did.
That's
Well,
right.
he'd been prominent in Robots in Disguise, though.
But I think that's because they did that, and then when they made him a Constructicon, they'd made a toy of that, hadn't they? Or that was coming. Did that come after? Because his toy, Thrilling 30.
I just remember Scoop had one of the comic. Wasn't he one of the ones that had the comic behind him as well? Like,
He
it was
was.
released
Yeah,
in
he
that
came from
fashion
comic.
too.
Yeah.
I mean, with the lead time, you'd have to imagine that the toy came first, and then they were asked to kind of feature it.
Yeah.
But at least he had some prominent character moments, and so did
That's really nice.
Needlenose in IDW as well. So they were starting to get their moments in the sun.
Yeah, but again, before that, I mean, Needlenose was in the Marvel comic in a handful of issues. Happens to be quite memorable appearances. But other than that, pre-IDW, these were not big names. And now you've got a Legacy Needlenose and things like this, which is so weird to see.
And superb.
Yeah, really nice toy. Really nice toy. But it does feel like there's still a lot of untapped potential in this year. As much as you're right, I think, Jason, that there is some big names here and things that have kind of become franchise mainstays. There's tons that isn't as well. It's a real weird mix.
Stuff like Cindersaw, those kind of guys.
Yeah,
totally.
The Sparkerbots. This is around all this time, and you think those guys.
Yep.
Some of them they've got toys again, but they're always like little repaints off to the side that never feel like
Spinister.
Spinister.
Yeah, it's something yeah.
Big IDW character now.
Huge. Yeah.
Very
He got
much
a great toy as well.
And he
another
got
one.
a really good
toy.
toy reissue. That's true.
He had a really great toy, though.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
It always did, yeah. And can I point out that the first Micromasters came out this year as well, which is something that everybody always forgets.
I forgot that as well. I thought that was totally 89, but you're right. It had 88 packaging.
Yeah, they did.
First round of them, didn't they?
Yeah, they had you get the first ones like the race car patrol and that come in the red packaging, not in the silver packaging from 80.
I've got those now. Oh
Now,
yeah.
This was the Transformers from this year that really hooked me in because of the Micro Machines crossover element of it. It was so. That's what everyone was into at the time, and it was like, there are little transforming ones, and it was like a totally different version of Transformers because they were just so tiny, and it was, and you could get like four in a set, wasn't it?
It was 4 in a set.
It was
Micro Machines that came in collections of 5.
That
So
was.
it always tells us.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, these were a late edition. Don't get me wrong. These were not like they were very late in the day. 88. And I don't think they're in the 88 catalog actually. So that tells you, that these were really like snuck in. Presumably to compete with other stuff. And there were no bases or stations at this point. So yeah, it was real late door stuff, but it's still incredible to think. I just think it's amazing that you look at this line of toys. You've got Pretenders, you've got Powermasters, Target Masters, Headmasters, Sparkerbots. You've got some cassettes as well still going on.
Combining
Which is incredible.
Combiner
cassettes. You've got a combiner team. And then you've got Micromasters. I mean, that is just
it's
what a heck of an
roster.
offering. And a six changer.
Yeah, and a six changer. True.
And the Combiner team has a Target Master element as well.
That's true.
Which is just,
totally.
like the ideas they're lobbing in here are amazing. And it does feel like it's that end of just throw everything you can as the kind of interest is fading. And it's such a shame because like the toys here, again, when you look back at them, they're wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. But there's that element in there where sometimes you can make the best toy in the world. But if the interest has left that brand already,
that's true.
It doesn't matter. You look at some of the toys that people have missed or slept on over the years, and you're like, man, how did people miss this 20 years ago? It's like because people didn't care. They were they were looking at something else that was more exciting at the time.
A new Optimus Prime is here.
I'll transform Optimus! Powermaster Optimus Prime, greatest leader of his time. It's great to be back.
Now, Optimus Prime is back as a Powermaster. He only transforms when his Nebulon becomes his engine.
Powermaster Optimus Prime. Look, Optimus is transforming into a super robot. Powermaster Transformers. They got the power to surprise.
So here's a question then for the group, because we did have some sort of little pre-prepared questions, and this I thought was an interesting one. So I do want to kind of just throw it out there and see what you'll think. How would you identify then a 1988 Transformers toy? What do you think makes
Pink, purple, blue, and teal.
Right, I did have that in my mind.
Definitely that.
For me, it's Powermasters. That's what 88 is. I just think of Powermasters, and that's not just because of Powermaster Optimus Prime, but it's because of those cars. Nice big chunky boys. Also Darkwind and Dreadwind.
Maz, you said something before which I thought was interesting, which was that it was like, was it you that said it, or Liam, that it was like a return to vehicle modes?
Yeah, that's the thing. Because it's basically, it's the first line. You say, how would you identify it? It's 1987 with recognizable alt modes.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Cool.
So all of your Target Masters are now not futuristic vehicles, they're Earth vehicles.
Yeah, like a Porsche,
helicopters, tanks, dump truck, mixing truck.
The Powermaster jets are in there as well, aren't
Yeah,
they?
there's the jets.
Yeah.
I mean, Powermaster Prime is an Earth truck. All the cars, the Powermaster cars, Earth cars. So all of a sudden, it's 1987, but with recognizable alt modes, and that's how I think of 1988 now. It's the brilliance of 1987. All the masters, the gimmicks, but it's with alt modes that you recognize, and it's almost like a refinement of that with added. Yeah, they've refined that aesthetic, so not everything feels as chunky and blocky, but disparate from each other. Like the beasts as well are very, very sculpted now because of the Pretender shells. I always think of Catilla as Battle Cat, so it's just
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very distinguishable for me now. But I think in all the years that I wasn't interested in post-movie, it all just melded into one, and I couldn't even say. I mean, you were telling me now that Micromasters were 88. I wouldn't have even thought of that. I forgot that they were 88.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Yeah,
totally.
It's absolutely mad.
Yeah, so I was just going to say that, Maz, because for me, like, I see Pretenders and the Powermasters in different years. I didn't actually consider them 88 at all.
That's strange, because like when I think of Micromasters, like the first thing I think of is Turtles, because my main memory of getting Overload, the one that's like a little Ultra Magnus-y style thing, is I remember I'm wearing a Turtles t-shirt and short set at the time
Cool.
and being excited in the gardens in its summertime. And so that would have had to have been like 89 or I think 88-ish summer. But I just remember wearing that. But like for me, it's what Matt said. It's the colours. That's what I think of when I think of 88. Is that United Colours of Benetton stuff where everything there's a set like pink,
dialed up,
teal, those bright different colours that's very different to kind of like real life. I mean, we were just coming toward the time of like Hot Wheels colour changes and stuff like that are like bleed into this sort of time, like late 80s and 90s, isn't it? Everything became like, didn't it? Like you got all the Transformers that were much brighter colours, like tie-dye effects on stuff. And
like Spinister.
Yeah,
totally.
But you started seeing that on toys and things that in where you'd have like a real world car, but just coloured in these crazy different ways, like the G2 Sideswipe we were going to get and stuff like that later. And you're like, you would never actually seen a Lamborghini Countach like that, but it's so of that time for toys because you would get cars covered in all sorts of weird paint decos you would never see in real life.
Well, not until 1990 when we got Action Master Megatron, of course. Then we got
Lamborghini. I was going to say, one of you has never seen a Lamborghini Countach.
You heard that, did you?
My point was, anyway, I had the poster on my wall. I've got loads of them.
I'm still laughing about it.
Kelly's dad owned one. I'm 1 degree of separation from one.
Brilliant.
No,
I've
I'll
never
never
heard
live that
such
down.
a brilliant quote, honestly. But I think the colour palette is again a bit of an evolution as well, because like I don't know about, am I wrong on this to say that there's more pink in 88 than there was in 87? Because I feel like there was a lot of teal in 87, but maybe not as much pink.
Yeah, you got pink on all the Seacons virtually. You've got it on.
There's Misfire in 87, but
Misfire is 87,
but Fangry and Horrible, Squeeze Play,
Fangry 88,
and even like on the Squat Box. Such a great. That's literally the epitome of it, isn't it? Yeah.
Submarauder, Road Grabber, those guys. I feel like pink became like a really big prospect in this year. It really kind of came into its own as like a
and it owns that color palette now, so that when you put Decepticon 6-Wing in a picture with them, you just think that's an 88 toy. It owns that color palette now. It's become synonymous with 88, not 87, but 88.
Mm-hmm.
Very specific.
I can see a distinction between the two. Like, I think you can really stand stuff like Dreadwind, for example, and those guys with the Headmasters from the prior year, and they stack up really nicely. I think there's a definite, and in a way, I feel like the Powermasters go better with the 87 Masters than they do with the Target Masters and Headmasters from 88 in
Yeah,
a weird
probably.
way.
Mm.
Like,
Same
I don't
as
know.
Quick Switch probably fits with 87's aesthetic and shape.
Yeah, a
because
little
it looks
bit.
like a Headmaster.
It's because they're big and plasticky, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've got that same vibe as the 87 Target Masters.
Yeah, that is true. But at the same time, there is a shift, and not everything in 88 is as chunky, which I think is where the difference is. And if you look at stuff like, look at Nightbeat as a great example. It's quite curvy, actually.
Yep.
And,
Yeah,
you can
it's
see
true.
why
Mhm.
Takara opted for that at the time, to be a female character, because it's not like the days now where any body shape can be considered female. I think it was a bit more stereotypical at the time. So I can see why they kind of went that way at that point. But it's interesting that you've got that slight curvature in the aesthetic kind of creeping in a bit more.
Yeah, totally. One of the I was going to say earlier, but one of the standouts for me was Hosehead. I loved Hosehead.
It's incredible.
Mm.
It's just great
such a good
fun.
toy.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's such a good fun toy. It had little
Yeah.
guns that go in the side of his helmet and so many little parts.
That's not a positive.
No, it's a pain in the ass to try and get all the pieces, isn't it? That's true. But and it splits, doesn't it, as well? But it's actually quite a wee toy, actually. But I love it for that.
Yes and no, because I thought this for years, but actually when you stack those 88 Headmasters up against their prior year forebears, they're not that much smaller. Like,
Oh, they
you know,
not
you look
really.
at-
Yeah.
No, look at, Siren is a great example. Siren's big. It's bigger than Brainstorm.
When
It's
you,
huge.
when you flip him out, he's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's
well,
very true.
yeah. Careful your phrasing there again, Jason. But
Big.
no, he's bigger than the smallest like 87 Headmasters like Brainstorm and things like that. So I think that it's that weird thing of you imagine it all being downscaled a little bit, but some of it's not as small as you might think.
Yeah, totally.
It's weird.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I got another question then for you. So, obviously talking about the kind of the feel of 88 then. So what were some of the kind of key strengths then of this year? Obviously we've talked about some of the notable gimmicks, but what do we think were like the real standout elements of this year that maybe as adult collectors now, I know what we were saying about at the time and where it was and all of that, but as going back and appreciating it now, what really ranks as like the best things about the toys from this year?
It's refinement, I think. It's taking everything that was good about 87 and refining it so that you end up with something like Double Dealer, or you end up with a small toy like Quick Mix. It's way more interesting than it had a right to be as a small transformer who had like a peg head and, just the movement in the what you thought were elbows but are really not elbows.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. And also, I looked for years at toys like Joyride and Getaway and just thought, too simple. But then you transform those two toys and there's flips and twists and stuff that you just didn't think was there with the spring-loaded stuff as well. You just think there's more to these toys than you realize.
Totally thought you were going to say more than meets the eye there.
I was avoiding it. I was avoiding it.
Yeah.
But I think it is refinement of what has come the year before. And even to the point where Powermaster Prime is quite crazy good fun. And, it looks mega chunky, but there's more to it than you think,
Yeah.
An aspect massively ramped up by the Takara version of that toy,
Yeah, very
what
much
you
so.
get out of that mold and in that year of 1988. But yeah, I just think it's refinement.
Yeah, totally. I think for me, it's the creativity in 88 is what I love. You can see the kind of shift now, and they kind of went hell for leather, didn't they? When you start looking through all the different ideas that they put into this year, when you just go down to like Sparkabots with that gimmick, as Maz said, the Six Changer, the Pretenders, which in themselves have multiple different things going on. So many ideas. So, from a Transformers collector and a fan and the fun of it and all the accessories, they're really, there's so many different things for people to enjoy. And it's a bit of a shame in a way that a lot of this just passed people by when you think about it. Because there's such great stuff this year. Like such great stuff.
I think I kind of, on your theme, that would be it for me as well. I just think the kind of creativity, that aspect of it really sings for me. When you look at stuff like Snarler and Carnavac and those guys, that's just so bonkers. Really, such incredibly unique toys in 40 years of Transformers. We're not getting stuff like that now. And when did we last get something like, look at Snarler as a toy, how random that is.
Razor Beast.
All right, yeah, true. Yeah, but even that was
Man in Pig.
96 or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So, I don't know, there's just a lot here that really feels unique. Pretenders is a big whack of that, don't get me wrong. But you're right, though, Jason. Even stuff like Sparkerbots, that's... I mean, we said that before that they don't do that anymore because you set your carpet on fire.
Yeah.
But, they were really going for it, and I really admire that about this year.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't 88 bring back the small toy a little bit again? You know, the intricate
the kind of
small
mini bot.
transformer.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking of 87. We had throttle bots, which were really simple. And then we just had the clones. Everything else was like a scale up. They were bigger.
Yeah, they were.
But with
That's
88,
true.
you get the small target masters. And Spinister is not a super easy toy to transform. It's quite intricate. There's quite a lot going on there that you've got to do in the right order. Same with the smaller headmasters. And you've got Quick Mix as well. It just feels like the slightly more diminutive Transformers range came back in 88, whereas in 87, everything just felt bigger.
It's definitely it's a smaller range overall. I know it's what we said earlier, but like no foot max, all of that.
Yeah.
It does feel a little bit more pared down in that regard. And then that's what really stands out to me when we start talking about the marquee toys of this year as P-Mop and Double Dealer. And it's at that point, and even Piranacon as being like a standout big toy of the year as the one combiner.
Especially when you look at its US gift set box. That is one of the most spectacular looking Transformers packages ever.
Yeah.
Packages, eh? Oof,
you can tell he's back, can't you?
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Cardboard.
He's going to whip his pillow out in a minute, isn't he? But look at him, he's like, why did I sign up to this? I got out.
Exactly.
And why have I
my choice.
Yeah.
It's nearly 11 p.m. I didn't need to be here.
Right.
Not even supposed to be here today.
Right.
But for me, it's a Return of Optimus Prime. I can't disentangle that from this year because like
Big deal.
that was such a thing at the time. Like we'd moved away from those characters, and then this is like the first time it felt like they brought a character back, and it almost felt like they were starting to pivot back. And it was, I remember just seeing that for the first time. It's like, oh my god, I get to get a Optimus Prime, a new one for the first time, and enjoy it. And that like bolt that created in my mind, and it's that vibe from there. Like you were saying earlier, Matt, about them bringing back like the original, like real vehicles and stuff, and it all feels like that's connected together. Like it's this almost like steering back to the old, but at the same time with tons of new stuff thrown in. It's like they took all these kind of crazy gimmicks and stuff that they like built up from the sort of, I don't know, sci-fi era, but that 86, 87, and then applied that to real world vehicles again, to almost like the original style of Transformers, even ridiculous that sounds. And that's how I always think of that year. It's like Optimus Prime is like the center of it, and it is that general kind of return to stuff, but with new stuff.
And you get G1 cars and jets with pilots.
Yeah,
get that part of it back now.
But that's what
exactly.
The Diaclone, all of this. It's Chronica. Yeah, it's all
totally
the circle of life.
But possibly behind the scenes, Hasbro were going, these aren't selling as well as they used to. Should we bring back Prime? Let's do that. That's a good idea.
What a way to do it, though.
Thing. Yeah, well-timed thing.
Totally.
It is a big thing because you've also got to think. I mean, it's still mad to me now to consider that in the entirety of G1, take Action Masters out of the picture as a separate entity. It's incredible to me to think that in Western G1 there was 5 characters that came back for second toys, other than Action Masters.
Yeah,
and 4 of those were Pretender Classics the year after this.
Yeah,
it just tells you everything about how different it was. And now, I mean, you joke about it, but we're in the world where, I mean, I think I mentioned this on a previous episode, but I posted a picture of Legacy Blitzwing, and someone actually replied saying, "We need a new Blitzwing," and it's like, do we?
We came out
like
5 minutes ago.
Like, do you know what I mean? This just dropped like 2 minutes ago. Slow down, slow your roll.
You're just talking about P-Mop. You question, Jason, what's the best toy from 88 if you take that one off the table?
Yeah.
And we're talking about how significant 88 is. But in a sad way, I actually think it's Powermaster Optimus Prime that is 88's only real significant contribution to Transformers, because you could take any other toy out of 88 and it's almost like a majority of collectors would never know. It wouldn't have changed the course of history.
That's
but
fair.
if you take Powermaster Optimus Prime out of 1988, I feel like you would completely change the course of Transformers history.
Yeah, there'd be a massive gap. Yeah.
That's a really interesting point. I totally agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and I think it's like I was saying, it's because as a definitive character, the trauma we all went through from the movie, my experience of Powermaster Optimus Prime was in the comic, and I'm coming back into that. And it was a massive deal, you know. So then to experience the toy when I was older, and then the Jinray version as well, it was like, you know, it was actually quite a nice way to experience it. But I remember so vividly the images in the comic, in the UK comic, because that's what I was collecting at the time. That was part of it. But yeah, it's a really good point.
It's the box art and everything as well with that toy, and the you know the 1988 back of the box splash, you know, with skull grin and everything. Like this.
Amazing.
And P.M. up front and center.
The way it's packaged as well.
Yeah,
the side,
the
the lightning
window.
bolt. Yeah, the new box, and it's like the original guy. Yeah. Here he is, and it's like when you chart moments of this brand and stuff. I think that's one on the graph where you plot the point from 84. You go certain points of defining moments and what they mean and what they lead to and what they signify. This is one of those significant bumps in the road, like really important toy, not just for it being an amazing toy on its own, but what it signifies and the opening the gates of bringing characters back and solidifying Optimus Prime as this. Like them recognizing that, because that's rare in anything where a company moves on from a character and then they actually go back that quickly. Like, guys, we need to get back to that guy. And you knock out a toy like that as well. That's actually like, I love the original and it's a classic. It's, you know, one of the greatest toys ever. But I always go back to P-Mop. Like, to me, I prefer that one. But I don't know if that's because
I know what you mean.
The connection I had to it as a kid is stronger.
But you say other toy lines wouldn't have done that. Other toy lines, all the ones I can think of, they just, as part of the course, they just did multiple versions of the main characters, so it was never weird to have another Luke or another Leonardo. Or with Transformers was weird in that it just left Prime back in 1984. So sod it, we're moving on. Like, I know you like him, but we're somewhere else every year.
Were like recurring characters that continued in those lines. So it'd be like wave 1, wave 2, then those characters, different colors, different things. But it's hard to think of toy lines that like went back to a dead character. I know he was coming back to life, but and kind of it became that like real important moment in the toy line. Like that's what I mean. Like there was no like when Ghostbusters did different variations on Winston, it wasn't like, oh my god, this is reinvigorating the toy line. This is a new beginning again, and that's what it felt like with P-Mop. It's different. It felt like a real
harder to bring Winston back from the dead. I would imagine that would be.
Because they just have to catch him and put him in the chamber.
Yeah, that's true. That's what I mean. He's a ghost. So, just be a ghost.
That would be it. Game over.
Very true.
The clear version is dead Winston. That's what they would do. Clear plastic Winston is dead. Yeah.
Do you think some of it was related to the movie though as well, and all the shock and awe around the death of the character?
I really do. I really do.
Do you think they planned that toy before then? Because that's 88. Like how far out? Like
I think they panicked.
That's what I mean. Like they had to go do it, but it's such an amazing toy, and like the feature of it and how central it is to that whole line.
I don't think they were planning this stuff 2 years in advance, though.
The movie was being written,
a long time
84, 85, at the same time as the toy line was kind of debuting and starting to establish itself in country. So no, I think it was in response.
I just picture some marketers just in there in one of the early screenings in the office, and straight away he's like, let's just wipe the slate clean for 88. We're going back to that guy. It's not going to go well.
This did not go well. You don't want children crying in the cinema.
But you know, I've seen various tweets now this year from collectors, often younger, but talking about how many Optimus Prime toys they've already got in 2024. You know, and 23 or the last 12 months or whatever it is.
Some of you got 2 of them today.
Well, missing link. But it's incredible because you the sheer number of Optimi toys that drop out now with frequent scheduling and that is amazing. So the idea that it had been 4 years and there was nothing, and then back he comes, and it's such a landmark thing. It's you can't replicate that now.
No,
totally.
And it's funny because people like me, you, Sixo, and to a lesser extent me, who is much younger than you.
Yeah, but, generationally,
It's like we missed out on the 84 toys because we are just slightly too young. Or you're around that age. I'm a little bit too young. But
I had a mortgage in 84, mate, so
it does not surprise me. But so for us, like that was a real first bite at getting Optimus Prime. But even then he was so central to the toy line, the comics, the the cartoon. You knew of him, and it was like that. And it's that kind of different eras of fan of Transformers, isn't it? Even us who have been around since the beginning. It's not the true beginning almost. It's kind of like that was our first attempt.
Exactly. And it started this thing of that's my Optimus Prime. So like you hear people, don't you, that talk about Machine Wars Prime as that's my Optimus Prime. And I think this was the same thing. This started that of like
so
the
like
people that had missed it
people
originally.
said that, was it?
No, there's a lot of people. You'd
Are
be
there?
surprised, mate. Oh yeah, you'd be
A
surprised.
lot of people were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Machine Wars, that was my first."
A lot of people. That was because you got to think that this was Beast era, and so if they'd missed on it's the same thing. If they'd missed on G2, which was right at the start of G2, what other Optimus Prime toy were they getting? They weren't, you know.
That's
And then anyway, that's Machine Wars, and we have talked about that, and I think this statement came up in that episode as well. So
I think it's because
you
that
can go back
didn't
and
come
listen
out
to it
here,
then.
did it? We didn't get Machine Wars here, did we?
No.
I don't think. So
No,
I
it
think
was
that's why I
KB.
never think of it as. I think of it like a small thing that happened and nobody noticed. But I think that's because we're not American.
It was a big old deal, but that's by the by. But my point, more broadly speaking, was that it started this thing of like my Optimus Prime, and I think you're right. For a lot of people, it's because they missed out on the 84 toy.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, I was buying toys when Optimus Prime was on the shelf, like the G1 Optimus Prime, but because my friend had it, I didn't feel the need like I needed to buy it. That's why I chose Magnus in '86 because I'd seen Prime.
Yeah.
But then the only Prime I'd ever owned was Powermaster Optimus Prime. I was just thinking how it kind of brings back a lot of Magnus because it's little robot, but also has big robot mode.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
there's very little of that actually going on generally in Transformers up until then.
Yeah, there was. It did start a lot of trends. I mean, we're not talking about. We should have said this earlier that we're not talking about the Takara toy line specifically tonight. Although of course, there is a lot of crossover. But that really started in Transformers, the whole super robot mode thing as well. With God Bomber, and all of that, and that has become a huge thing since, and that's where that all started. So it's an amazingly important toy. We were saying recently that they'll definitely do a masterpiece of this, right? At some point,
Yeah.
It feels.
Oh, please. Yeah.
It feels like a shoo-in.
HasLab.
Well, it was part of the poll that Starsaber won.
Yeah, I've heard a rumbling that someone suggested that it could be on the way. I can't remember in what context that was, but I don't know. Maybe it was just wild he tell me type speculation, but
It's the best
it
one.
would be
Do it
amazing.
again. Good this time. Not like that bloody Legends one that we had.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Right, well, we're back for the part of the pod where we talk about our sponsor, and that is, as ever, tfsource.com. You can check out for all your Transformers and third-party needs, and we're going to do what we always do at this point, which is check out the site and see what they've got in stock and available for pre-order right now. And someone, who shall remain nameless, Liam, just had the idea of letting Maz choose what item we were going to talk about tonight. And sounds like it's going to be fun, but I've got no idea what it is.
Yes, you have.
I'm amazed you haven't guessed because I am the most predictable of all of us when it comes to this stuff.
Go on.
Okay.
I'm looking at the front page. What have I missed?
MPG 08
Yeah, it's gonna be
train
Raiden.
bot
Right,
Yamabuki.
yeah,
Yamabuki.
totally.
I mean,
Totally.
okay, this is great. This another train bot. Just keep them coming. I don't care. Do 50 of these. I'll get them all. And this
Dr.
is
Yellow.
Yeah, it's the proper Dr. Yellow, I suppose,
The proper
because it's the
Dr.
right
yeah,
mold
proper Dr.
for
It's the
Dr.
right
Yellow.
toy. Yeah.
Was he not in NWA? MC Yellow.
Maz, you need to explain this to me because I'm a bit confused. Can you tell me the legacy of this, please?
Okay, so
It's not a
I
legacy
think-
toy, Jason. It's a message.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
but it is an Autobot. Okay, so you're
Okay,
right.
it's a
there.
good guy. Okay,
Friend,
it's a
Jason, friend.
Friend.
Friend! He's
Hello,
friend!
friend.
Oh, friend.
We thought that they were going to repaint all of these Masterpiece train bots into the Diaclone colors. That's what we thought was going to happen as soon as they did the main colors. And then we thought we kind of were getting that because the first thing they teased was another bullet train in yellow, which is what the second color train bots had. But as it turns out, they've just released, for pre-order, 2 bullet trains, both of them yellow, which is like the test color of these bullet trains in Japan.
Oh, wow.
But what they've done is they've done Shuki in yellow, which never had a yellow color originally. It had a chrome color, was the repaint of that, but I guess they can't do that. But funny how I never made that leap that, of course, they'll never do a chrome one. I was sure they would. And then they've done the other bullet train in yellow as well. So now we've got 2 yellow bullets coming, and this one was actually repainted into yellow. So it's got a bit of Diaclone heritage. And what they've done is they've given it a new combiner accessory the head for Raiden, but it's like a prototype Raiden head that was seen in some Diaclone paperwork back in the day. So it's got a Diaclone nod, but not the one you thought. And of course, it's a female character now, isn't it? Yamabuki is going to be female.
That is true. Yeah, because it appeared in some of the comics as such.
Yeah, I think this is wonderful because I love the fact that it's not what I expected. I love the fact that there's more of it. I'm fascinated to see what they do with the rest of the train bots because I'm sure they'll color them, whether they'll just be more extra parts for the main Raiden combiner or whether you will be able to make a completely separate, different colored Raiden combiner. Hell, maybe they won't do any more at all. Maybe it'll just be 2 bullet trains and that's it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah,
I was wondering that if they might do more nods towards the second Diaclone set or what they're going to do. But then, as you said, it's the weird fact that Shuki is not chrome, so it's a real hodgepodge of influences. This one, it was seeing the original art that the head sculpt for the combined mode is based on was like a revelation almost. It was
for me
like,
too. Yeah. I never knew about that before. It was just like, I'm so glad it's got roots in something significant. I can't wait to get it because all of these train bots have been brilliant. And I just hope they fix the knee on it so it doesn't crack like virtually all of the previous version of this mold did. I think both you and I, Sixo, had that problem with Yuki Kaze.
The only reason I don't know is because I've not transformed mine yet, so...
Get on it, son.
Maybe don't.
Maybe I'll just buy another one
and
then just leave it. Exactly. Yeah.
These train robos have been absolutely spectacular, every single one, and I cannot wait for this one.
The combined mode as well looks very Diaclone Reboot, doesn't it? It's weird to say, but there's something about the face sculpt, and I know it's based off the previous Diaclone art, so it's kind of almost coming full circle in a way, but it really looks like something that could totally mash up with the new Diaclone line. And the fact that these fit Diaclone drivers from the new line as well is incredible. So
that's very cool.
There's a lot going on here with these.
Bring it on. Can't tell you how happy I am that they continue to do colours of these. If I get more track, more trains, love it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Did you buy any additional track for yours, Mez?
No, I actually did say that if anyone had additional track pieces or just they wanted to sell the train and they lobbed the box away or they wanted to keep the accessories, because I just want them all as trains as well.
Oh, but I mean like hobby track?
No, I never did. I actually, like Jason, I got the big horn. So I started to get interested again in trains. And I just started to look at train stuff and like model train. And that's how I know I'm getting old because I'm looking at model railways on eBay and stuff. Haven't bought any yet.
Is that because you want to make tracks?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Oh. There we go. Just comes in. Left field. Yeah.
I could hear him working on something. It was brewing over there.
It really was.
Oh, God. You going through your Rod Stewart era? Is that what it is, man?
I wish.
Did you see what Rod Stewart created?
Oh, mate. Incredible.
That's amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
I should be so classy.
Yeah.
Did anyone ever say that about Rod Stewart? I don't know.
Well, yeah. If people are listening to this and don't know, Google Rod Stewart and his home-built train set.
Yeah.
It's like nothing you've ever seen.
Insane.
Yeah.
How much did you just want to put a bunch of robots in that diorama?
Well, that's what.
How amazing would that be?
That's what I was talking to you about before. That's what I'd love to do. And now that we've got these MPGs as well, it just would make that even better as well. There was a slight offshoot, but the Scottish Train exhibition was on over the weekend as well. I should have taken those with me. That would be.
Should have taken me.
Yeah, well, to be honest, next year, man, we'll go there, right?
Sod TFN, I'll come to that.
Yeah, honestly, it's amazing. So good. So good.
Okay, cool. Well, you can find that on tfsource.com. And actually, indeed, the other Dr. Yellow, which is the Shuki repaint, is up there still as well,
Gyno.
I notice. Gyno. And what's the other one called? Yamabuki, isn't it?
Yamabuki.
Yeah. It's so funny to see the two of them in this sort of nicotine-y yellow colour.
It really is.
Can't wait to have them. Honestly, this is, and I love that they were so close together as well. This is going to be amazing. It's going to be so obscure in a few years' time because loads of people are going to skip this, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure.
Totally. They will.
What if they do the whole set in this sort of nicotine yellow?
I'm all in.
Then I can put them in sunlight and won't worry.
Yeah,
you can have them in your front room.
Exactly.
They do have the look of a 40-year-old G1 Jetfire. Don't they? That's the thing.
They really do. Yeah.
Or a Simpson.
Maybe that's the 40th anniversary stuff that's still going to come.
They look like the Simpsons.
So we just call it Bart when it's combined.
It's like Ryden got jaundice.
Yeah.
Well, if that doesn't sell the toys to you, then I don't know what will. So do check this out and more, plenty more, on tiersource.com for all your Transformers and third-party needs.
We now return to the Transformers.
Okay, so we're back at it with 1988. And of course, we talked earlier, and Jason, you threw into the mix there about what's the best toys of the year. Right,
Got
at the
excited.
start.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And we all spilt the beans on that. But what do you think are some of the most underappreciated toys of this year? And this is really, Liam, where you can't talk about Powermaster Optimus Prime because it's certainly
Sixo.
not underappreciated.
The French invented this fantastic phrase, and it's called "je refuse." It means
Right.
I refuse. And so, Liam, je refuse to not talk about Powermaster Optimus Prime
Your
again.
French is impeccable, mate.
Everything
Yeah.
you just said was wrong.
Oui.
We, that means small.
Je suis
Oh, yeah.
allé à la plage. Yeah, there
French
we go.
for small, yeah, indeed.
Oh, I do know some fantastic Spanish, though. Do you want to hear it?
Go on.
Hombre, ¿dónde es la automobile? Do you know what it means?
Dude, where's my car?
Yes! Correct!
Good God.
Well, it's
Yeah.
good.
So-
yeah. Inclusive.
Liam
Love it.
and others. So yeah, what do we think are some of the most underappreciated stars of this year?
Well, there's a reason so much 88 came up in our Hidden Gems episodes.
Yeah. This is, like, even from myself, this is a completely underappreciated year. And it's still, to this day, a divisive year, isn't it? When you talk about Pretenders and stuff, people will always chirp up saying, oh, I don't like it when they did that. So a lot of this is just naturally underappreciated. There's so much of it.
Yeah. Sort of flew under the radar a little bit.
There was two that I noted, though, and one of them's already been said, which was Quick Switch, which, as a six changer, I think it's just a ridiculous amount of fun. And it is...
Yeah.
It's just, it's like all those different modes you got going on, and it still, I feel it still gets overlooked today.
It does.
I don't hear it talked about very much. You look at it online, and it's not that expensive to get. But for me, one really underappreciated is Guzzle.
All right.
I really,
Yeah.
just out of all the Spark bots, I've just got a real soft spot for Guzzle. Just a really nice. Like what you said earlier, I think, Maz, you said this about bringing back the kind of mini-bot style, figures and stuff like that. That's where Guzzle fits for me.
That's what
a
88
lovely
does.
little toy.
Really brings back the small Transformer again.
I liked
Yeah.
this toy as a kid. I had this one.
I
This
did.
was the one of those I had, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's great. Total. Yeah, I can see that as if I had been younger, it would have been the one I would have picked up. Definitely. Just a lot
Hard
of fun.
to find now in decent condition. Like
Mhm.
very, like
It really is.
totally ubiquitous toy. Like it's one of the. You go on Google, on eBay or whatever, and look at Transformers toys of this era. You're gonna find a few Guzzles out there, like a lot. But trying to find one that isn't yellowed and just completely scuffed to within an inch of its life is nigh on impossible. Honestly.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest. I think I'm just checking. Yep, mine's missing the tank. The barrel of the gun.
Oh, is it? Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is it missing a whole mode, Jason?
Yeah,
Turns
it's
into
always-
a box.
I'll be honest. I'm looking at it now in the photo, and it looks very unwell. Oh, it's got rusted screws and everything. It's been well loved, but this is the thing. I
you
think.
can get yourself a new one there, lad.
Yeah,
you know?
I'll look at the
You
mini
can
con.
upgrade.
That's what I'll do. Exactly.
Yeah, might be
But
time.
but I think that's it as well. Maybe that was it. It was like one of those well-loved toys, which I could totally see just be.
Well,
a
it's
stocking
the
filler.
gimmick. Yeah, and it was in everybody's pocket. You know, in school and things like that. It was just that size of toy.
Yeah.
You would get people like chewing on the tank, on the barrel or whatever.
yeah.
I'm sure. I seem to recall a few of them with teeth marks. Then you've got the spark gimmick as well, which just destroys the toy as you're using it, like completely knackers the toy. You're literally scratching it on a hard surface, like it's
And
not.
setting fire to it.
Yeah, none of that is good for longevity of these things as for collectors much later on, is it? So
That's true.
yeah, no, it's a good choice though.
What about you, Maz?
Hose Head. That's what I picked
Yeah.
for the underrated toy. I think it's toys like Hose Head, Quake, the Needle Nose, Quick Mix.
Yeah.
That's all that
Yeah,
Liam
yeah.
picked. There's so many in this year,
Yeah.
underappreciated.
All of those Autobot Target Masters from this year are
Joyride.
underappreciated. Yeah,
People don't talk a lot about Joyride. I remember actually, I didn't think a lot of Joyride either, and that was completely brainwashed because I owned it in 2016, and I remember Kit and Rich came round to my house to help me sort of pack down and get rid of like Detos that I was selling. And I remember saying to Kit that, yeah, Joyride's not great. And he goes, no, Joyride's brilliant. Let me show you. And he took my Joyride and he transformed it. And I remembered, yeah, it's got the waist flip. It's got the chest flip. It's actually brilliant. And it is a really, really nice transformer.
It is a lovely
so
transformer.
much underrated
One of those you have
stuff this year.
to remember to turn the chest, don't you? Otherwise, he looks like he's got a little pot belly.
It makes me really want Ranger. I've wanted Ranger for years just because I would love a repainted Joyride. And it's just one more toy of that fantastic aesthetic and era, and I'd love a Ranger because what else? You'd love that, wouldn't you? You'd love an extra getaway. You'd love an extra slapdash in those proto colours.
We talked about this on I think it was on Hidden Gems, wasn't it? When we were talking about about slapdash and saying, imagine if there were similar repaints of the others, because there are prototypes and things out there that have been seen which look incredible. But yeah, Ranger's cool because I don't think there's any other toy that's the same color in the whole of G1, honestly. Like, it's the weird sort of powder blue that it is. It's like a sort of sky, very light blue. Nothing else like it.
It just comes across as grey in pictures.
No, but it is blue.
Also, Quick Mix has that really bizarre greeny, orangey bootleg, which is as wacky as Battle Crap that I can see behind you.
Oh, yeah, there he is, yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of thing. I've been very tempted to just go and get one of those KOs just to have another 88 Target Master just in wacky colours because they're so good and underrated, all of that stuff.
Quick shit. So you're going to give him a KO name. It's got to be something. Exactly. What else is it going to be?
I know, totally.
Prick Mix.
Maybe.
Quick prick.
Very good. What about you, Liam? What's one of your, putting Powermaster Optimus Prime to one side, what's one of your underappreciated chaps of the year?
It's got to be Powermaster Optimus Prime.
Oh, mate.
So
underrated. Say that.
Well, how did you guess? But I'm going to go with the Race Car Patrol. And it's because I think the Micromasters, there's such a danger that people fall into where they kind of just all look at them as one muchness, because there are so many little ones. And even I can't name them all individually. And I adore them. But those little toys, man, the cars in particular, they just feel like a little bit like the vintage toys because they've got those kind of Earth and Alt modes, but they're so simple, they're so small, but they're all bright and colourful. And it was just such a nice set back in the day, and that Micro Machine kind of quality, but also like the transformation is simple, but they can still move their legs and their arms and stuff.
I'm just realising this. We've talked separately on this pod twice about two different gimmicks from this year, Micromasters and Pretenders, and we've said of both of them that they've maybe never been bettered by more modern toys.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And isn't that weird to think that they both originate from this year?
Yeah, it's it. Yeah. Yeah.
But this is kind of where they perfect a gimmick, because it's when you do little toys like that, particularly in the Micromasters case then, because they are such little toys, there's only so much you can really do to them. Like here, you've seen them add like hips and stuff, and I like them, but they don't have that same kind of just pick up and change quality, because you have to fiddle with the legs a little bit to get them, and you kind of lose that very quick.
100%. I was fiddling with the new two from the HasLab Deathsaurus, and it was really interesting because Pipo and Bota, but people are talking about how they're a significantly better set than the ones that came with the HasLab Victory Saber, and it's absolutely true. They are way better, way better, night and day. They're still not as good as the originals.
No,
that's the thing.
Look at,
really.
Like Pippo Fix It. You look at his kind of ambulance he is, and the arms stick out, don't they? He's not a flush normal ambulance. And I noticed that when I got in, I was like, oh yeah, it's a little bit different. I like you get it's a different car, but it's that kind of classic, the modern Transformers thing. If they still can't quite do doors anymore, they've kind of got this strange thing going where they just can't do that like a normal side of a car. But I think these cars, they're pretty much just two steps, but they work so well, and that's
Tailspin
what's
is all-timer.
Yeah, and I think, man, kind of the thing with them is because they're so small, they're very easy to put into a box or a bucket or something, and they just become this.
Do you mean literally?
Like, that's how I store my modern ones. A little older, but I think people do. They kind of just. It's like when you go to say TFN, you will see a tub of them, and you'll be like, buy two for £1 or something, isn't it? And they they lose that identity of their own because it just become
they
like
do
these
get
little
roped together.
things.
Yeah.
They almost become like the blind bag toys, even though they're not. That's kind of what people are. That people don't give them their identities anymore or associate.
Well, that's how Paul sells them as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He bags them up in teams and sticks them to the cork board, just like you would with minicons.
Yeah.
So they do become just this cloud of, do I really want to squint and see which toy is in which little bag? You kind of gloss over that and focus on the toys on the table in front of you. I'm sure that happens.
But you collect them as teams. I think that's the other thing as well. You're like, I need the race car patrol, not like Sunrunner or whatever. Nobody's going in like, I need that character or this thing. They're like, I need those 4, and it's the cars, and then they're done.
Because they're actually individually, they're great little toys. I mean, my son has had for some time a road handler, and he loves it, honestly. And it's one of the Transformers that I would say comes out quite frequently, even now, for a bit of play in that. And it's just, he does have some of the others, that's the thing, but it's this one in particular has sort of captured his attention. And it's quite telling. So I think, I totally agree with you. I think those original Micromasters, that's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
Isn't that something that's nice to say about 88 in general, though? Is that they're all really good, fun toys.
Yeah.
They've all got really good, fun parts to them.
Very little that's bad here. There's nothing bad. I wouldn't say any of it's bad at all. I think it's all got some merit.
And they've all aged well in terms of how you appreciate the designs. Maybe not structurally.
No.
Yeah.
But, or in terms of maintaining their color. But
Yeah.
I think, if you're experiencing them for the first time as an adult toy, this is an oil field, of amazing experiences waiting to happen. If you've got any interest in experiencing G1, filling in gaps and stuff, you've got the big names in 86 and 87. People go for that stuff, but you need to look at Quake and Needle Nose. And getting a set of those, like if you get all 3 Decepticon Target Masters, it's not got the Hollywood of Slugslinger, Trigger Happy, and Misfire, but you get those 3 smaller Decepticon Target Masters together, and it's a moment because they look amazing, and they almost look more themed than the other ones do.
Yeah.
Same with the Autobot ones. I mean, talk about underrated and non-glamorous. Scoop, Quick Mix, and Landfill.
Yeah.
Get them together, and they're fantastic.
I think for me, I'm just looking through the sort of roster, and there's so many underappreciated examples, so it is hard to pick. I mean, stuff like Gunrunner, I would
Road
cite
Grabber.
as exactly.
Yeah,
I would
totally.
cite those other Pretender toys, particularly those 2, I think are major underappreciated examples because they're. I mean, we've joked about it before. Like, it's a Pretender that is inside a car. Like, what?
Lying down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very much like, they just go to sleep, don't they? Just
Yeah.
go for a little nap.
He's
in his
not
car.
Hey, look, it's a robot pretending to be a car.
Yeah,
Sounds familiar.
exactly.
Wait a minute.
Where have we seen that before?
Robot in a car. Yeah.
But they were toys that I remember vividly getting for the first time as an adult not that long ago, and just being like, whoa, what are these? This is incredible. And I had such low expectations for them, sincerely, and they totally blew me away. The other one I would mention, though, quickly is the cassettes, particularly the Decepticon pairing, Beastbox and Squawk Talk. I just think they are incredible. And to me, they stand as some of the best of all the cassettes, which is saying something considering they came out 4 years after Soundwave. And we're still going with that.
Did they come out here?
I don't know, actually.
No.
I don't
remember ever
seeing
seeing them as a kid
No.
or Slam Dad. They're ones I discovered later.
Yeah. So these, so I knew nothing about these, but I remember it's, you get to that point where you're collecting and you're like, okay, what am I missing? And it was a definite shift in my collection where I kind of got all the mainline stuff. And then suddenly I was like, oh, who are these guys? I don't know what they are. And I'm pretty sure mine came from the US when I got them. And then completely unaware they're combiners until I got them in hand.
And that's the thing. They're good toys, especially the Decepticon duo, as I say. They're good toys because they're great individual cassettes. They look good in cassette mode. They look good in beast mode. And they make for a really decent robot mode as well.
Yeah.
And none of it is hindered by the fact that it's got a combining gimmick. That's almost incidental. I mean, I say that despite the fact that it has a bird's head penis, which I feel is something that we always
Needs to be mentioned.
need to mention. At every
Everybody's
possible
heard about the
juncture.
bird head penis.
Right. Very good, Liam. There we go. If they hadn't before, they certainly have now. But it's just such a great little duo. That was one that I picked up at TFN once, just really randomly, and it just turned out to be an absolute banger. And Slam Dance is is weirder because it's two vehicles and whatever else, but still really nice. And second ever Gorilla Transformer.
Oh yeah, valid.
So there's something for you.
New Transformers are here. Now, from the bottom of the sea come the monsters of the deep, the Target Master Seacons.
Target Master Transformers, they've got the power to surprise.
And when they join with their leader to form Piranhacon, anyone can become the gun.
Target Master Transformers.
And here come the Sparkabots.
And when they're fighting, man, you see sparks fly as the fire comes, battle the Sparkabots.
Each sold separately.
Transformers, they've got the power to surprise.
So any other thoughts then on 1988 before we wrap up? Anything else that stands out as particularly memorable from this line of toys?
You joke that I like cardboard, but I mean, there was some really lovely cardboard this year. First of all, the Powermasters with the electricity on the box. I mean, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And you've still got the little window for the Nebulon. Are they still considered Nebulons in 1988?
Yeah, well, they are.
Yeah, they were. Yeah,
comic in that. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, that's still lovely to see that in the packaging. And I love the way that Getaway and Slapdash and stuff look in the boxes. And I'm so pleased to have those boxes. And Powermaster Prime's box, I remember there's a collector in the UK called Ben Parfit. And he wasn't really into collecting G1, but he had a massive soft spot for Powermaster Prime because he remembered it from his youth. And just being able to see the look on a collector's face when you put a boxed Powermaster Prime in their hands, and it broke him to see. It was really, really amazing to see his face when he was holding that, and that's what that toy does. It's incredible in its packaging, and I think it's important for Transformers to look good in their packaging, and it's one of the best things about vintage G1 is how good they look packaged, especially stuff like Powermaster Prime and Double Dealer as well. They're just absolutely gorgeous in their boxes, and they have beautiful boxes with amazing artwork. And 87 is not the exception to that at all. And again, like you've mentioned, the back of the box artwork for 88 is right up there with the greatest.
Second to none. Yeah.
That's actually, I think the UK 88 catalogue has a pretty fantastic drawing that runs down the middle of it. Do you remember? It's like portrait layout, and the 88 catalogue has quite a fantastic image.
It rings a bell.
Is that the catalogue with the Autobot logo on the front?
Okay, found it. It's my own tweet. Fucking loser.
I think I found your TF Source article as well.
Oh, yeah. I have seen this.
This is an amazing catalogue.
That's
Look how it's laid out with that fabulous artwork just right in the middle. It's not quite the back of the box art, but it's close.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, very close. They've just kind of, it's got elements of it that there's just been recomposited a bit, hasn't it?
And that artwork in the middle is owned by a collector who bought it not long ago.
Oof. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
They found it and they bought it. Yeah.
The original artwork?
Yes.
Wow, that's so
incredible,
cool.
Right? And another thing is, like, 1988 Transformers were the first to not have rub signs in the West. I think.
Very
again,
true.
or rather, not have them again.
Yeah.
But if you get the Chinese ones from the 90s, they do. So you get like Backstreet carded, it'll have a rub sign. That's how you know it's not.
I have a rub sign Backstreet. Yeah.
Did you get a rub in the Backstreet?
I did. Yeah. Exactly.
There was definitely something there,
Do
wasn't
you have to rub Backstreet's back? And is he all right?
Yeah. To rub Backstreet's back and then shout, "All right,
All right.
All right, mate.
all right."
Just on the packaging, am I right in thinking that in Europe, the Micromaster packages, is this where it changed? And we started getting the silver packaging for the Micromasters. The Americans didn't, did they? Because they had a different Micromaster package, but ours was silver with that lines going down the side.
I think the US packaging transitioned to that as well.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, but I think the first year, the 88 ones, I think they're a different kind of
You
black
do get
and red,
the
but they've got
classic style.
Yeah, but it's got like a
Micromaster
micro and a
packages,
different
yeah.
font, hasn't it? And then, but in Europe we had that, and the first time the logo changed, didn't it, to that slanted one that was on the comic? You remember the second Transformers logo?
Mm-hmm. Another one you mean?
Yeah, Micromasters. Yeah, the first year were in different packaging. Definitely, they got the kind of red sunburst look to it and everything.
But I think, is that not just America though? Because I am sure we had the silver ones, didn't we? Because I remember the Airstrike Patrol is an 88 one, and I remember that being on a silver packaging.
I think probably here we maybe we only got the silver ones. I mean, as I say, Micromasters was a late prospect in this year anyway. So I think, certainly for us, maybe they weren't even actually out in 88, talking about them. But they definitely were, under Hasbro in what territories and whatever else. I mean, I wouldn't know, to be honest. But yes, it's possible we never saw that initial packaging.
It's mad how Micro Machines-y those packages are.
It really is.
Very
I was going to say that earlier. It really was. It was like literally Hasbro just went, oh, they're doing well. We should do that, but with Transformers. And hence,
you do see the red packaging pops up at conventions and stuff, though. I've seen it at TFN.
Yeah, I think that's American because I'm just looking at TF Wiki.
It's possible.
Micromasters aren't listed here.
Right. There you go.
So they must have come the year after, because I remember definitely they're the silver packaging here.
Yeah.
But the Americans got them, they must have got them in 88, and then they've got the red packaging. But it's still different to the other style, isn't it? Because it's got that weird micro logo on the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Micromasters thing.
Totally. Do you know one thing just on the packaging as well is that, because I was looking at the Pretender packaging, but like the Powermasters, you had the Nebulon and then you had the actual vehicle. And it was the same with the Pretenders, wasn't it? You had the Beast, and then you had the robot sitting, and it became that's part of what they did in 88, where they were just like, look how much you're getting for your money. There's all these parts to it, because if you'd just done like the Beast for Pretender, you just look at that and go, well, that's not worth that. But there was so much in it that to get that across in the actual packaging.
Or if you were Liam, you looked at it and thought, it's two bad toys in a box.
Wow, that's a throwback. Wow, deep cut.
I don't remember when that first came up, but
it's true though. The Pretenders do look fantastic in the boxes, and you're right actually about the Beast specifically. It's the way they're displayed from the side, but with the robot next to them, it looks awesome.
That's when we first got that sort of really cheap feeling plastic insert as well, isn't it?
Yes, that's true.
The crunchy.
Yeah, that's the Batmobile biscuit.
That's the Jaffa cake.
That's
it totally is. That absolutely is it. Yeah. Because I got a Sky High when I was at TFN last year, and it comes in, it's boxed, and it comes in that crispy. I was so nervous to touch it. It's
Sky
High.
I thought you were talking about your after-con activity.
Yeah,
it's like
the this time the is in the correct place. It's not
Sky High.
I got Sky High.
I got I'm reading his name, Sky High.
Yeah, but it was the way you talked about the fact that you went off and got Sky High.
At TFN.
That's just TFN, isn't it?
Right.
Billy will be listening to this, like taking him off the list. We can't have that this convention.
Probably advisable. Hey, Jason, did you know that toy's got GPS?
Oh, has it? I've never heard that.
Yeah.
What is GPS? Should we talk about that?
Just in case no one's ever mentioned it to you, that's all.
Okay.
So you might need to know.
That's how you find it, Jason, with the GPS.
Yes, exactly.
To locate it.
Yeah, exactly.
New Transformers are here. Incredible new headmasters, and the driver of the vehicle becomes the head of the robot.
Headmaster Transformers, they've got the power to surprise.
And when the head enters the robot's body, you get a readout of its power.
And our new Decepticon headmasters will give us more brain power than ever. Transform, you monsters, and prepare to attack.
Headmaster Transformers, they've got the power to surprise.
It's sold separately.
Okay, look, I think that's going to about do it for 1988. I mean, first of all, we've only got Maz for so long before he turns back into a pumpkin, so we've got to bear that in mind. But also, we can revisit this line of toys further down the road as well, can't we? And talk more about them, because I feel like there's so much to unpack here. We're doubtless going to be doing some mini-sodes, I assume, gentlemen, on some of these 100%. Bits in more detail.
Yeah.
We have just done one, and I should have mentioned this earlier, but we have just done one on Pretenders. Where we talked a bit about how we might update the gimmick, like in a kind of more modern setting, because as I think I alluded to, it's never really been better. It's never really been done as good as it was in 1988. So how would you bring it back in a kind of faithful, modern setting with full shells or whatever it might be? We had some thoughts on that, which we discussed in a mini-sode. It's been pretty popular on our Patreon with our patrons. There you go. All saying it all correctly there for you. We've also done one previously, by the way.
He's growing, Mass. That's what
I am, growing. Yeah.
As a person. As a human,
yeah.
Learning
as a
words.
Human. Yeah.
As a human. Yeah.
Thanks, Liam. Really appreciate that.
It's just a pretender.
Yeah. Very good.
Oh, no.
The great
Or he's
pretender.
coming out of his shell. Oh, take your pick.
Very good. Very good. But we have also done a mini-sode on the Seacons before as well. That was
Seacons.
pre-Jason.
They're called Seacons.
Are they? It was
Wow.
pre-Jason, so I can't say about the pronunciation in it at all, whether it's good or not, but you can judge for yourself. You can go and listen to that. We have also done one on the Godmaster engines as well, which is still this year, but Japanese, of course, so you can check out all of that. Now, I mention all of this, of course, because it's all available on our Patreon. And we do have a Patreon, and it's worth checking out because we have 5 glorious tiers on there, and they're rather lovely. Got everything from apologetic ramp. I was going to say unapologetic ramp. Yeah, I always go to say unapologetic ramp, but it's not. It's apologetic ramp, where you can pay us just £1 a month to keep us going, or you can be a man in pig. And you can get early access to episodes such as this. You can get them up to and sometimes over a week early, which is very exciting. Or you can be an inner beast, and you can get on our Discord server, which, as we always say, is the pop-in place to be. I think
I'm
someone
still
said that
there.
once.
I've been there the whole time.
I know you
Yeah.
are. There you go. Little benefit of the Discord can be talked
I
about.
like the way he said that like a reveal. Like, I've been there the whole time. Like, just lurking.
Lurking.
Yeah.
Or a reason not to sign up. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You can come on the Discord and Maz will call you a there you go.
Special, but
That's
only
that's
at
a
certain
different
levels.
tier.
Only
That's a
at
new
certain
tier.
levels.
New tier.
That's a
There's
tier,
a dedicated channel for that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even
Prowl-
joking. That's the
prowl
thing.
tier.
So that's
Yeah.
what you do with yourself these days, Maz. Just insulting
It's a
people
full-time job.
on
You always did
OnlyFans.
that. What are you on about? Or you can become a Sixo's butler, and this is where you get access to all of the minisodes that we're talking about. They come out fortnightly, so you get all of the previous perks and fortnightly minisodes as well. So you definitely want a slice of that. And then you can become a Gold Box Classic, our top tier, where you get absolutely everything, but you actually get weekly exclusive content because you also get a fortnightly mini series on currently 4 ongoing topics. We've previously had, of course, Maz's 5th, the Unicron trilogy mini-series, which is still available on there and well worth a listen. Maybe we'll get you back in for some more of those at some
Quite
point,
possibly one day.
Maz. One glorious day.
When I
Come
start
back to
buying
us,
toys
man.
again, maybe.
Exactly. But you can also get Jason's series on Titan's Return, which is in its 2nd episode now and going very strong. You can get our Skybound chat ongoing. We're due another one of those very soon. You can get IDW's More Than Meets the Eye, our ongoing reread of that series. And you can get the legendary, the one and only infamous Tatman.
That's the good stuff, man. That's the good stuff.
Yeah. What's the next one going to be?
I've got a doozy. There's a word you might
A
like.
doozy.
Sixo. A doozy.
Doozy.
That sounds very much like your kind of thing.
I say doozy all the time, actually. Yeah, it's the kind of thing I do say.
100%. 100%.
Is that me?
That's you. 100%.
Does it sound like me?
100%. Yeah.
I do say that a lot, don't I?
I noticed
100%.
I started saying it a lot as well in
So
real
did
life,
I.
just outside of the
Yeah.
pod. I kept saying 100% all the time.
Same.
Oh, no.
This is these ticks come in, don't they? That's
They
at
do.
least I've stopped saying ultimately. That's good.
Well, only because I kept editing it out all the time. I was like, I was going to.
Not in my life.
Yeah,
you've
same.
not.
Same.
Yeah, right.
You're just
Just
slapping
pops up,
me every
says
time
no.
I say, yeah, it just
Yeah, exactly. It's just spraying you with water in your face.
Look at
every
him with
time.
his horn.
training a cat.
No, I was going to save you like a little supercut of Ultimately's. I was going to just put them all together like a bag of pretender hats or something. And send
Do
them
you
to
think he
but-
pops up like Dan Forden does in Mortal Kombat, just in the corner and goes, ultimately?
Sixo pops up on the other side going, 100%.
I'll start
it's
in
a
on you
high
in a
score.
minute, honestly.
Flawless
It's
victory,
good.
indeed.
That's brilliant.
Anyway, you can get more of this on our Patreon, is what I'm trying to say, and I think you should. So you can check
Yeah.
out all of that and more at patreon.com/Triple Takeover. But there are some more perks on there as well, and one of those is that you can submit a question to be answered on the pod. And we've got some new patrons, don't we, Jason?
We do indeed. So let's give a shout out to the new patrons, and we'll start with we've got a new inner beast, which has a very impressive name. Aggressive Bread has joined us. So
Oh my
welcome.
God. I've got a new favourite. That's
I
like
knew you'd love it.
it's like angry toast. Aggressive bread. It can be
Yeah,
angry toast.
I mean, I'm assuming they've got some sort of gluten allergy or something. I don't know.
Love it. It's great. Aggressive Bread. So very warm welcome.
It's the revenge of the croissant, right, Liam?
Oh, no.
He's all butter.
The
Yeah.
cruel crumpet. Yeah,
I can't
we
believe
got
it's not
loads.
butter, to be honest. But-
Oh, me neither. We've also got, which is amazing, 3 new Sixo's butlers. So let's say a very warm welcome to Thomas Berrigan, Scapegoat, and Forever One. So welcome, you three. Lovely to have you with us.
I hope he is forever a Patreon.
Well, that's all three of them, actually, not just one. Yeah. That's it. Forever One, Forever Three. So we got 2 Patreon questions, and I'm going to be like teacher and call you out for an answer each.
Oh, God.
If that, okay, so I'm going to run a tight ship here. So first one, which is from the lovely The Perfect Pixel. Do you prefer when a toy line has a single unified aesthetic across the whole thing, or has several different aesthetics that not all the toys share? So I'm going to come into Maz on that one first.
I thought I was going to say no, but then I think about car robots, which is a mix of vintage molds and then a very, very car robot aesthetic and also beast stuff. And it works. It works brilliantly. It's lovely variety across the toy line. Lots of different like spy changes. It's great to collect spy changes, but also it's great to have Superfire Convoy and God Magnus and JRX. So I'd say, yeah, if they do it right, it can be a real treat.
Yep, cool. Liam, what about you?
Yeah, I'm in that camp. I like a mix because I like to pick and choose stuff rather than buying it all. So I like it when they give me different things. So I can be like, oh, I get this toy and a different toy at the same time. And I get to enjoy them for completely different reasons rather than it being like a unified theme.
Okay, yeah, cool. Sixo, what about you?
Yeah, I guess the same. I mean, I don't be bored. I feel like the third wheel now. Just like, yeah, me too, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Say yeah. What are you on about?
Yuppie Sixo is here.
Oh God. Steady on. But no, probably the same. I mean, yeah, Car Robots is a great example of that. Yeah. And there's very few Transformers toy lines that have got that uniform and aesthetic, is there? Like, I'm trying to...
Animated.
Yeah, animated.
That works brilliantly.
Yeah, so, yeah. That is a great example of that. And Vinyl Tech, I guess, those lines.
Exactly.
So, I like that a lot. Like, I love looking at a whole shelf, a whole cabinet of Vinyl Tech and being like, look at this, or animated and that kind of stuff. But yeah, a mix works too.
Yeah, totally. I went down the colour, actually, for my aesthetic. And I actually really like, Autobots. That's got a kind of colour that works, so like they're
Friends.
The Autobots. Yeah, Friends. They're the bad guys, Decepticons, and then you start getting that.
That's why you got thrown off by the Deluxe Insecticons, isn't it?
It is exactly. You're right. Honestly, that is why. Because my brain works in that, like, well, if it's the darker colours, the purples, the teals, these are the bad guys, and then those Deluxe Insecticons turn up. It's like they worked out how to be Decepticons by tricking me.
I thought you might have been confused because of the name, because you've got the Deluxe Autobots, and that was, Whirl and Roadbuster, and then these are Deluxe Insecticons. I thought there might have been something to do with that.
I wonder if it likes them because it sounds like Dulux, and it's just like having like a colour chart, a paint chart.
Yeah, I just saw a friendly dog.
the Dulux Insecticons.
We should be glad he didn't call them the Dulux Insecticons.
Love it. Good stuff. Right, and next question, which is from MetaBZ, _Z.
Oh, there we go.
See, no, we've got to do both. We don't know.
But they've already said what it is. It's MetaBZ. They pointed it out on the Patreon.
They clarified that it is MetaBZ.
Okay, I'm glad I got it right then.
Yeah. This time.
Definitely not last time.
Not last time, no. From MetaBZ, what's your opinion on 2 different characters sharing the same name in one universe? For example, the Micromaster and Deluxe Insecticon, both named Barrage. So go Sixo.
I have absolutely no problem with this. I know some people really hate this, and they're like, there's got to be one definitive bulkhead or whatever it is. It doesn't bother me at all. How many people do you know called Dave? It's like in the world of Cybertronians, all of that, there's going to be a bit of crossover, isn't there? That said, there was always like comic stories like Dive Bomb, What's in a Name, names being stolen and stuff. But yeah, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm very up for, two rampages, 2 whatever. It's all good.
Yep, cool. Liam, what about you?
No, I'm against it because there are a million different adjectives and things you could use. There's no need to name them the same thing.
Oh, right. Nice. Yeah, cool. Maz?
See, for a toy line, I don't like it. In fact, it's insulting.
Wow.
But for the comics, I think it's fantastic. Like the number of times that Roberts made a joke about people having similar names. It's like, what was it, that Prowl? No, it's the other Prowl, or something like that in More Than Meets the Eye. I thought that was really good. And it was world building. And of course, it makes sense for there to be more names. And remember when they were joking about that robot called Dent because all the good names were taken.
Yeah.
I love that element of
That's
it. But
true.
as for a toy line, I think in the same universe, there are a lot of other names.
So it's funny for me because it didn't really bother me because I'm kind of amazed that we've not had that many overlapping names in the universe. And maybe that's just because I'm not paying attention to how much has overlapped. But I was trying to think about how many there've been. And please don't list them because there's maybe more than I realized. But yeah, it's not really something that's ever bothered me personally.
Do you mean in subsequent toy lines? Do you mean if there was a Beast Wars barrage and then there was a Car Robots barrage? Is that what the question is referring to? That kind of thing?
So I read the question as in does it two different characters? Oh, I missed the question. Two different characters sharing the same name. Yeah, that does bother me because they're different characters. I read it as the same character. That makes no sense, does it? Can we start again?
No, we can't, because this is committed to recording now.
We've been recording the whole time.
Guys, I think Jason's had a stroke. I don't want to alarm anybody. I really don't.
Another classic Jason moment. Brilliant.
It doesn't bother me. That's what I'm sticking with.
Okay, cool. Good. There was a lot of name reuse around Micromasters, wasn't there? Because there was a blackout Micromaster, and that came back in 2007. There was that kind of stuff.
Different lines, I think, is all right.
Yeah,
That's
that's the thing.
So I'll say that's what I meant. Different lines.
But I kind of thought that you meant in the same universe, in the same timeline of the same toy line.
Oh, right. See, so in G1 or in B... No, so different names in the same... I'd want to see different names in the same timeline.
Right.
But if they're going between different lines,
for toys,
Beast Wars and G1, totally doesn't bother me.
Yeah, for different lines, it's fine, absolutely fine.
I like that it's absolutely fine that we've decided it's allowed.
Yeah, it's allowed.
Good.
Thanks,
after
Hasbro.
40 years. Yeah.
Exactly.
You're all good with that. Yeah. Nice.
Perfect. Nice.
Okay, well, if you want to get a question answered, did we answer the question? I think so.
I don't know. My head's still spinning. I'm confused now.
You did.
Very confused. I'm 100% confused.
We answered a question. Maybe it wasn't theirs. I don't know.
Words were said, and MetaBZ, you could decide if we answered your question or not. How's that? But if you want to get your question answered in some form or another anyway, then you should check out our Patreon on patreon.com/Triple Takeover. And also a shout out to tfsource.com, our sponsor for the evening as well. So do check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs.
I mean, really, they could approach you on the Discord and ask you a question. I mean, I haven't known any of you to just point blank tell someone no,
Don't tell them
not
that.
answering your question.
Don't tell them.
It's
It's
a
a selling
feature.
point. Selling point.
Actually, it came up recently. We got asked a question on the Discord, sorry. And,
you read that, it's true.
Yeah, and we said, we'll answer that on the pod. So there you go.
It's become a perk.
It is.
Because we couldn't read out all the names anymore. Because it was too hard.
Well, Maz is going to do that now.
Yeah. Do the thing. Like the Simpsons. Do the thing. Do
Just
the
go
thing.
into it.
Just do our
Big
man
thank
that
you to
we
Nick,
never-
Danny Roberts. Okay, as far as I remember.
Are
they even still here? Nick, Danny, are you still around?
They are. Yeah, they're still there. Yeah.
Oh, that was great.
Chris, Spider-Father.
Yeah, all still there.
Yeah, they're all there. Yeah.
Puma the Hunter.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was annoyed when Laserbeak left because Amar and Laserbeak just became the two things that you just couldn't separate, and then he left.
Oh, I can't not hear anyone says Laserbeak or I read it written down now. I say it as Laserbeak.
Yeah.
I only hear it now. You say it.
Totally.
But there is one name you have to say, Maz.
Which
One
one's
guy.
that?
I know.
Fart Warp.
No, not Fart Warp. Oh, R.I.P. Sleep well, sweet
He collects
Farty Prince.
he collects Tripticons.
Yeah, God, he inquired about.
Oh,
his
Godert. Godert
Yeah.
Walter.
Yes.
Hello, Godert.
good lad. We love that guy.
Excellent
Yeah.
Instagram page. The Triple
Yeah,
Takeover guy.
really
good.
excellent.
Oh God, yeah.
He did send a message saying
wow.
he was a bit disappointed that none of us have attempted to pronounce it since. I was like, that's such a Maz thing.
Well,
He's
we
good
got
at that.
Gary Chalk to pronounce it, and that was a thing.
Yeah.
in itself.
Yeah.
I
I
won't
went back
tell
to
you
him
that.
3 times.
Yeah, Gary was such a good support about that.
That's fabulous.
I have to say, he's really, really good. But that was one that got picked up for repronunciation. Let's say
What a win that was, getting Gary Chalk to
it
do
was
the
great.
shout out.
Yeah.
he was
Absolute
great.
win.
He was such a nice guy. Honestly,
Yeah.
I should point out that Laserbeak is back.
He is
Welcome
back.
back.
Wait, so Laserbeak returned.
He did.
Ladybird book, yay!
Yeah.
Maz, can you also, while you're here, can you say Tulkus? I haven't heard you say that for ages.
Tulkas.
Yeah.
Tulkas.
Oh, say it again.
That's the doorback toy, right?
Yeah. I've missed this pronunciation of that.
Liam's feeling Bonaparte right now.
Is this like an OnlyFans suddenly?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like I feel like I should leave.
Well, it is that late at night, so you know.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just dial in. This is the new Patreon content.
Liam, we're all waiting for your Redbubble segment, mate. This is what you're supposed to be leading into.
Well, this
Do you
week
got any
it's short.
letters this month, this week, whatever?
Well, I was flicking through the messages as you know I want to do, and there was one that somebody just sent quickly as they were on their way to an airport, and so it was older Lou, who's currently at Luton Airport, sent a brief message.
That's it. I'm done.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Done.
That's the limit.
I can't even keep a straight face myself this time.
Do you want to come back full time and I'll go, honestly?
You're stuck with him.
Oh,
End
A
call.
totally real person.
See what you left
like,
me with.
Like Lou from Neighbours. So maybe that's where he's going to Ramsey Street.
he's still going. No one's even...
But this totally real person, Lou, currently at Luton Airport, said Lou, yeah. But he just said he was browsing the Redbubble. He really liked the designs, and he was thinking of ordering a T-shirt or something, whatever we sell. And he saw that at redbubble.com/people/Triple Takeover /explore. And
So that's still the address. You still haven't sorted. It's a shorter address.
No.
It's been months.
It's fun to hear Liam read it every time.
Says,
I know it now. It's
I
only taken,
actually
like-
fixed it months ago. I've just not told him.
Oh, what?
It's 3t.com, but no, we're going to get Liam to read that out.
We did go through a phase of just telling people to Google it.
Yeah, we did.
Speaking
We
of
went through a
Googling things,
phase.
if you want to tell us, I can't even remember what we were talking about in this episode now. I've lost it because of Lou. Damn you, Lou.
1988.
88. The
I hope
year.
your flight was delayed. Yeah, so if you want
You hope his
world
flight was
building,
delayed.
that's what I'm doing. World building. I can't help it.
What? What's going on?
But if you want to tell us your favorite toys from 1988, you can hit us up on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So head over
And
there.
Blue
look for
Sky.
Triple Takeover. Yeah, Blue Sky, we're there as
Blue
well.
Sky. Yeah.
And yeah, so guys, Maz, because you're back, where can people find you these days?
Still at TF Square One on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky.
Ah.
I'm at Sixo anywhere that you might find an at.
Oh my God, look, that's mine. We've had this conversation now. Look, this.
Yeah, you bugger. You need to list them out. You're the one who signed up to everything they
Yeah.
put out. Now list them.
Yeah.
Not doing just like a Fans Toys version where it's just like Liam but not. Do your own thing.
Liam, but not.
Yeah.
Not Liam. Yeah.
Yeah. Just slightly mispronounced the name. Lame. No, okay. Well, if you want me to, I'm on
Jeez.
what? Yeah, YouTube. Look me up on YouTube. There you go. So give me a YouTube sub. I need more subs on YouTube. There you go. Go and do that for me. Jason, what about you?
Yeah.
I'm at jswags.com. That's where I
Jswags.
exist.
Website.
Oh yeah, that was his thing, wasn't it?
That's
Is it
all I've got.
GeoCities?
It should be. So many gifts. That's
It's
all.
on Angel Fire. That's
Wow.
And I'm Toybox, Soapbox, anywhere there's an at TM, copyright, or all that stuff.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
MCMXVVVY, whatever that stuff is.
That does it.
All right. Well, listen, it's been a great time talking about 1988. I hope that many of you love these toys as much as we do, but whether you do or not, we would love to hear your thoughts on them as well. So do get in touch and let us know what you think. And a big thank you to Maz.
Yay!
Yay. Yeah.
We missed you.
We have
Thank
missed
you for having me.
We have missed you.
I've missed doing it.
We'd love to have you back on again. We'd love to have you back on again. If you
I
if you
cried
would
when
be
you
so,
left last time, so
want.
I'll cry again this time.
Like the 1988 Optimus Prime, I will return.
Yes.
See, I'm now curious if you heard the Celine Dion music that we played after you left.
I think I did. I listened to the episode.
Blanked it to
There was
his
one. Well, there was
memory.
the one after you left, actually.
I listened to the Fort Max minisode and then ran into the world's most glorious Northern Lights display while you lot were jabbering away in my ears, and I was trying. What's that
Trying to
noise?
enjoy it.
Juxtaposition. Yeah.
Maz, have you heard of the pause button, Maz, that you press?
You didn't see these lights, man.
He was in awe. He just stopped him. Yeah.
Well, we would love to have you back on again soon.
We'll
It would
happy.
be,
Yeah.
it would be our pleasure.
Always
but
welcome.
thank you for making yourself available for what was our 75th 3-year extravaganza. And I don't know. All I will say is thank you very much to everyone out there who supported us, who's tuned in, who's listened, who's especially everybody that's subscribed to the Patreon, because that has made a huge difference to this podcast and will continue to do so. So thank you very much. We aim to have a lot more exciting stuff going on this year as well. So we're working on, I don't want to say too much because it's early days, but we're working on something. We're cooking behind the scenes, aren't we? To bring you something a little bit new. So we'll see how that goes very soon. But yeah, all good stuff to come. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you for episode 76.
Just thinking that word you mentioned, extravaganza. It's like if you think of that word, it's extravaganza, right?
Extravaganza.
Everything that's not an extravaganza is just a standard vaganza.
It's a vaganza.
That's just everything.
A vaganza.
A vaganza.
Like every other episode is just a vaganza.
It's a vaganza.
I think it's a word
It's standard,
you should use.
a regular standard vaganza.
Yep.
Yeah.
Probably a Renault car, isn't it? A Renault Vaganza.
It probably is, actually. That's true.
Vaganza.
Exactly.
Brilliant.